Welcome to the Positively Star Wars Senate podcast. This is Obi-Wan Kenobi. May the Force be with you.
Looky, Senator. There's a Jedi arriving.
Let's make this our best show ever.
I will sign no treaty, Senator.
I am the Senate.
This is the way.
Hello, Star Wars fans, and welcome to Positive Star Wars Chat, because this is the Positively Star Wars Senate podcast, coming to you via the power of the Force and a little help from Skype. So this is episode number 67. We've got past the number 66 record, and this is recorded on the 29th of December 2024. So we're all fresh from Christmas at this time when it is still 2024, although this episode probably will be out next year. Not long to wait though. So before we get going on the show, quick word from our sponsors. And thank you, sponsors, helping us to be able to buy each of our Christmas presents, to pay for our ever-increasing D+ subscriptions, and keeping us on the airways. So, I am Stephen, as you will notice. I am a British member of the crew, the Skeleton crew, and I am in England, but the rest of my motley crew of pirates and scum and finery and all that kind of stuff come from across the vast pond of water in the United States of America. So, in Skype order, as I get Skype back off my screen again, we have Ryan.
Hello there.
Ricky.
Hello.
Ron.
Greetings and salutations, fellow senators. Chancellor.
And last but not least, Marie.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, and happy Christmas, everybody. And an early Happy New Year, or later Happy New Year, whatever, and all that stuff. And we are back to finally talk about Skeleton Crew, which is due to, as we say, technical issues and stuff, has been slightly delayed. But we have been watching it, of course. What kind of Star Wars fans would we be if we didn't watch what was coming out? But we've just been slightly delayed, shall we say, on actually discussing it. So we've had 4 episodes since it came out. Sorry, 5 episodes. Damn it. And there's 3 more to go, believe it or not. And I am working off my memories, so probably I might start talking about stuff that didn't actually happen in the episodes. Whereas I believe some of my fellow senators have actually rewatched stuff, which is very, very handy. So let's go back to the December the 2nd it was. We still hadn't brought all our Christmas presents, and we're still looking forward to Santa coming when the 2-episode drop came out. So the first episode was called This Could Be a Real Adventure. And I'm taking this from what Wikipedia says, so it's not always completely accurate, as we've discovered in the past, but it's a good way of getting a quick summary. I say quick summary, it's a great big paragraph. So it starts off with, somewhere in outer space, Captain Silvo leads a raid on a ship. When no currency can be found, his crew member Brutus, that's the Teen Wolf lookalike, incites a mutiny. On the fairly modern planet of Atatin, Wim and his friend Neil prepare to take aptitude tests to determine their future. Wim implies that he wishes he were a Jedi, as we all do, despite Neil's retort that would be impossible. Meanwhile, truant students, Fern and KB, spend most of their time riding a hoverbike around town. When Wim misses the bus, he takes his own bike, but falls into a ditch, where he discovers what he thinks is a Jedi temple. He is found by a droid who takes him to school, but is subsequently admonished by his workaholic father, Rendell, who tells him that he needs to make up the exam. Wim convinces Neil to visit the temple, in quotes, with him, with Fern, who overhears his claim, and KB following as well. The group finds a hatch and enters, only to learn that it is a really long, abandoned spaceship. Wim pushes a button that activates the ship, lifting them away. Wendell watches in horror as the ship takes his son and his friends deep into space. A lot happened, and not a lot happened in all combined into one. But I will say that the first 10 minutes was not what I was expecting, and was a bit more violent than I was expecting as well. But enjoyable, all the less. So let's get people's initial thoughts, go around in turn. Let's make this a bit orderly. Ryan.
I actually just kind of like the production value. I mean, they got big scenes again. I mean, when they come busting through the spaceship at the beginning with like the big tubes, and they just kind of run in and kill a bunch of people, and the costumes all look great. That wolf-looking guy, the Brutus that you mentioned, he looks great. Silvo and all that. I mean, it's just when they're locked up in jail, when the ship blasts off. I just think it just looks really good. It's just a good comfort show so far, and trying not to get too far into the later episodes. I just like the mystery of it all.
Yeah, it was definitely and also had a bit of a New Hope vibe. I don't know if anybody's talked about that before. That opening stuff was very much there was quite a lot of reminded me of the opening of New Hope, and you got the ships coming across, and you got them blasting in and blowing out the hatch, and the rebels there. Well, they weren't rebels, were they? But the people on the ship there were sort of hiding behind stuff and looking in anticipation before everybody came bursting through. Very New Hope-ish. Ricky.
The pirate guys, they slid in like attached in like kind of like a actual pirate ship, right? When they attacked it in the beginning, if I remember right.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, with like tentacles and stuff.
Yeah,
very Nihil like, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what kind of reminded me too, like of the Nile, like with pirates. I like I'm fingers crossed for Hondo to show up at some point, but yeah, I like the whole pirate aspect of when they do that in Star Wars, because they're space pirates. That's what Han was. So that was always cool. I like the costume for the bad guy or whatever. Don't they go into the safe and it's empty, right?
Yes.
Yeah, which was funny. That was kind of like a Jack
well, actually,
Sparrow
there was a
thing,
credit. There was one credit on the floor, so wasn't there? I think.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, just to kind of show that there was someone there.
Yeah, I like that whole opening sequence. It was cool. I do like the planet that they were on the at and whatever. We got to see like this. There's a normal planet in Star Wars where there's like houses and a neighborhood and a school and everything, and it's just kind of weird how like they have to pick what they're gonna be when they grow up, like so early, and they're like what, 6th grade or something. But
yeah, it's like a testing, isn't it?
Yeah,
isn't that what
like
they did? It was like, well, you have to test, and this is what you'll get assigned.
My daughter said
just
it was
yeah.
similar to the book The Giver, because she had just read that in school. I guess that's kind of the same thing where they like have rules assigned to them in the society that they live in at a young age. So that's just what you're gonna do the whole time, which kind of sucks. But like I guess I'm gonna be a banker. So,
oh yes, a banker. Yes.
Yeah. And then the dad seems like he's too busy for the kid. I mean, the poor kid's walking home and he sees like his friend Neil with the, oh hi, Neil's home, and they're all hugging him, and he's like goes home to like an empty house, and like he's just desperate to get out of there because he's got nothing else going on.
Well, sorry that his mother's dead, Ricky. Jeez.
Probably died of boredom because the dad
beat
sucks.
the kid down.
That wasn't said initially in the first episode, was it?
No, we didn't.
I can't remember. He says his mom's gone, right?
It came later. Yeah, it came later.
You would assume.
Okay.
Yeah. I liked how they were pretending to play with lightsabers. That was fun.
That's what we've all done that, I'm sure.
Yeah, because like in reality, they're legends of their galaxy. Like just because we're reading it from an outside point of view doesn't mean that those things didn't exist to them in the past. Like Jedi have existed for 25,000 years. The Sith disappeared 5,000 years or 1,000 years ago. So the Sith reigned was 5,000 years ago. I mean, they're High Republic. There's battles. There's even if they seem to be trapped in their own little bubble, which they're kind of not, but are. I mean, it's still like it makes sense that people would still look up to those figures. I mean, my kids read books on historical figures. I shouldn't say all the time, but sometimes. So
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like when, kids and we pretend, oh, I'm a knight or, I'm a king or something, like that's the same thing. They're knights. So they have swords and they get into fights.
Yeah, there's books and stuff on it. So I like that idea of recognizing it.
Yeah. It kind of calls back to like Last Jedi when the kids are telling the story about Luke and all that stuff and how Rey knew about it and, and she knew about Jedis and their powers and kids pretend and they legends grow. So I thought that was a really cool way to like get the universe kind of on the same page. So I thought that was cool.
Just remember,
I like the whole aesthetic.
Just remember, it's not the future; it's a long time ago, really. Yeah. Okay, Ron.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, it's been forever ago, but I do remember being very excited to settle in and watch this. That it was a two episode drop, so that was kind of exciting. And just being, as mentioned, being blown away by the opening. Had seen the trailers and kind of knew where to expect, but just a very Star Wars, just an awesome opening to get you excited, get you into it. To see what we saw in the Clone Wars, the live action sort of pirating takeover of another ship with those tubes that penetrated the other ship and got the pirates on board, the swinging across to take out the cannons. I remember they used like what looked like I'm pretty sure that's what the prop is. I'd have to look into it. It's advertised as like a road flare. You keep it in the trunk of your car, and if you have a flat tire, you put this little puck down and it spins around, so you don't have to have a combustible, dangerous road flare. You have this LED road flare. I remember they put that on the guns to take out the ship's guns, but just as mentioned by Ryan, the design of it all, you could tell it was going to be a very well done Star Wars story, as it should be. Just the production quality, having them come on the ship, the pirates. It did have a very A New Hope feel. That it was a comforting Star Wars storytelling motifs or model or what, I don't know what you want to say, but it just right from the get-go you knew you were in Star Wars, even though it didn't have necessarily the Star Wars legacy character type of things or whatever. It was an all new Star Wars story, and was enthralled and taken back and enjoyed the start of this ride, because it did have that sort of mystery, that sort of it's a storytelling trope of sorts, but we've talked about this before where, well, if you've seen enough stories, if you live long enough, sure, it's going to be modeled, or you can tell where it's at, but that's fine. It was still entertaining to write. I'm not sure why there would have been one lone credit in the safe. Like they emptied the safe and it dropped off the cart as they're wheeling them all out, and somebody didn't hear it go plink, 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 but they needed one lone credit. I think it's deliberately
left behind, isn't it? It's deliberately left behind.
You think, just to take a...
Yeah. I've seen that in a few films and stuff, the things will leave some behind, just as a little bit of a, no.
Yeah, just to take them off, just to let them know I've been, or somebody's been here before you, that it was, I guess that's right, it was full of something, but it's not anymore, versus, you had it completely wrong. But yeah, having
it's kind of like Batman too. Dark Knight, they did that in, I think it was Dark Knight. Remember they did the tainted, they left like the tainted money there on the floor, and like, how'd they know there's a mole on the inside? So that alone was kind of mystery. They obviously knew they were coming, so they left some people behind to be shot and killed, I guess.
Well, is it another faction, or does the Republic know that they might be coming and leave? Anyway, I just enjoyed that opening scene because I was not spoiled by it, I guess, whatever. I'd seen the trailers, but we dissected them a little bit, but never like expecting, or never had that waiting of where are we going to see this scene, if we saw them coming on board, and it was very pirate like, the way the ships line up next to each other, and like you said, the swinging across, even though it was space, a space swinging across, it was still just an awesome pirate aesthetic to that opening scene.
So many creatures in there too. You got the
the Ishitids, you had the Wolfman. Yeah, you had
there's a guy that looks like Dr. Evazan. There's like that pirate guy that was in Mando, and then there's
the Republic ship, not so much, but you had
the Ithorian hammerheads. Like there was a bunch of them. I was like, there's like 2 or 3 of them on the screen. They must really like them.
And then guys
to drop into at and see what we did see a lot of in the previews, and just that suburban scape that we were in Star Wars, and the kids, and setting all of that up. It was I remember it being quite entertaining, and kind of like the way the episodes they were cliffhanger-ish endings. They left you with the oh, that's where it stopped. All right, yeah, I want more. So I was excited for the following week to hurry up and get here type of time mindset to see more about the story. But I thought the first two episodes did great to set up the story that we were about to see. And
what second episode? What second episode? We haven't got there yet.
well, no, didn't
Second
it drop
episode. There's no
two?
such thing. We haven't done one. Yeah, okay.
Didn't it drop two?
It did drop two at the same time. Yeah, Bridget got.
Yeah,
We're talking about the first one.
Yeah, we haven't got that
He
one.
only read the first though.
There is no second episode. Not yet. Not
Oh,
until
all right,
another
it was
couple
forever
minutes.
ago. All right, so
Yeah,
yeah,
okay. Okay.
I'll defer
Marie.
to the Marie.
Let's get Marie. Yeah. Marie, you're on.
Okay. So yeah, I found it really enjoyable. It was kind of a callback to my 80s childhood, if you will, on a lot of levels, because you had that suburban landscape, and I know a lot of people complained about it, but like Ricky, I felt it was really kind of it was a good thing to see, like a different planet, a different way of living. And it reminded me this first episode reminded me a little bit of E.T. in so many ways, because we had that little suburbia, we had that bit in the forest with Wim and finding the ship, and then there's little things here and there to remind us of other things that we might have seen growing up, like American Graffiti. I definitely saw a lot of sprinklings of American Graffiti references here and there. So all in all, it was kind of like a real I said this all along, that it's going to be a real love letter to Gen X, and it really has been. I mean, Wim, and the fact that he's kind of a latchkey kid, where his dad is working a lot, and he's just kind of on his own. That's a very 80s childhood thing, not something that was too much my experience, but enough that I came home after school, and I wasn't alone for like hours and hours and hours, but I was alone for a couple of hours, and I kind of knew what it felt like, where there was, you had like your homework and your things to do, but you also had this empty house that like nobody was in, and nobody was in charge of your time, and your
Amen to
mom or
that.
whatever.
It was very much showcasing that, or portraying how it was back in the day. We're right. We were the latchkey kids.
Yeah.
Before mom and
came
dad
home from
after
school.
work, and just did whatever we wanted to.
We did whatever we wanted to. We
Yeah.
hung out, we watched TV. I mean, I was kind of a Hermione Granger type, so I did my homework.
Well, even with Fern and the other girl with the visor, like they're in the garage, messing with the bike.
Yeah,
and those
tinkering
kids
and
pull
building
up, like-
bikes and stuff. I remember doing
Building
that.
bikes and stuff. Yeah, stuff like
Dad
that.
had no idea what I was messing with. Yeah.
So it felt like, I mean, obviously the people behind this were people who are sort of in Ron's and Steven's and my age cohort, who did this kind of thing. This is how we grew up. This is what we did. We spent all day on the street, and nobody like kept tabs on us. There was no phones or anything to keep tabs on us. We went out, and it was like, don't come home till the lights come on.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Long days.
I
I wasn't on the street. I wasn't in the street though. I was in the fields because I'm in the rural area here. But yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
But we'd go to the park for hours and hours unsupervised, and it was fine. I'd go to the library and hang out there by myself.
Yep. Those were the days.
It wasn't expected to have an adult with you. You just kind of went, and you did what you did, and then you went back home, and as long as you were home by the time mom said to be home, everything was fine. And it kind of gave me that feeling of growing up as an 80s kid, just doing what you do and having the time to yourself. But Wim kind of obviously wants a lot different than what he has.
His
Dad is
home
busy
life.
working.
Home life
And
warrants a bit more adventure, just looking for something, whatever's happened to mom.
yeah.
Like say somebody said he walks past what is the elephant guy, Neil's house, and sees all that. He comes home to an empty house with anything you might want. I'm sure the Atari's in there and bikes are in there, all that sort of stuff, but he just comes home, flops on the couch, and just just like, oh geez, I'm once a but I thought that entire suburban landscape, them running around on the bikes, Neil and them walking through the neighborhoods, just none of it. I mean, and it's 2024. It shouldn't. It's Star Wars. It shouldn't. But none of it had a I'm going to date myself here, but like a sitcom Brady's Bunch TV set feel to you were walking through it. It all looked real. It all looked believably, legitimately an actual place you could go visit right now. It was so well done. The speeder bikes always are a bit of a challenge in the way they hover, and especially kid actor, like Return of the Jedi and Leia on the speeder bike just looks, and maybe I've seen enough green screen, but it just looks a little, okay, now lean to the left, and they sort of make the physics of it's a little off from what's happening on the screen, and it's a little bit more pronounced with kids trying to be on the bikes, trying to get them to do it, but still, it's all so well shot cinematography wise.
Yeah.
It was good, gorgeous to look at.
Yeah, I mean the suburbs themselves reminded me of like newer suburbs that we saw coming up in those newer suburbs that we saw coming up in the 80s, like places near where I grew up, where they had been like fields before. All of a sudden they started sprouting houses instead of like vegetables or flowers or whatever.
No, you're right. Very planned, sort of a suburban sprawl versus
planned community, very modern
environment. Yep.
Very Westchester-ish vibe kind of thing.
I'm just wondering what's the meaning behind it, kind of making it suburbia, because they're obviously going for some different idea that because everything we've seen is either like these slums or a giant city planet, and I think it's extremely welcoming to actually have something that should exist in the galaxy. Why should people go from living into huts or living in 5,000 floor sky rises? So I think it's great to see, and I don't know if it's a deeper idea, like, oh, this is how the old Republic used to be type of thing, or if it's like, we've never seen this before, let's just do this. So I think overall, I just think it's really nice to see good, comfortable areas in the new Star Wars. I think they did it also in the one with Jack Black.
Was it that you could tell something was off as soon as they had like the security droids and you got to the school and they were like, okay, it's time for school now. Everybody on the bus, everybody off the bus, come on, time to get to class type thing. There was something slightly off about that, and I like that. So it kind of gave like that Stepford vibe that, there's this really nice suburbia, but there's something a little tiny bit off, but I still like that.
I'll take the indentured slavery through droids if it means everything moves nice and smooth without any problems. So big, yes, droid overlords, like just keep traffic moving. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's just funny because like you could the car is on the track, so you just get on, you go to work, there's no straying from the path, and then you got the kids on the speeder bikes that don't care. It's like they're rebelling.
Yeah, because I used to think that there was maybe like for clean air initiative, they don't want hover bikes, and that's why things are on rails. But now everything, now they're bikes hovers, but nothing else kind of does. So it's just interesting.
I don't know if I saw anything on rail necessarily. On a track, it was more a guidance type of thing, as how I took those sort of lines in the roads.
Everything
versus a physical, but still, it presented for a neat aesthetic and a neat thing we haven't seen in Star Wars, because we've seen it in Coruscant, or like you said, the 5,000 story high rise, but we see this planet, the suburbia, we see the skyscape at night with the mist over, what is it, the shield or whatever they talk about, kind of thing, that it did well to set up and set up everything that was needed to be set up for the following episodes.
I hope you're more I hope you're more responsible, Ron, when you're driving. You don't just see the lines as guidance when you're out there on the
Well, no, I
street.
meant for the automated trams and like the buses.
Oh, right, yeah.
That those things
Yeah.
were sort of. I don't know if I thought those things were connected to them so much as they were using them.
The cool thing.
I missed the ruinous them off dog poo and litter strewn
Oh,
along
gosh.
the place. That's what I missed.
Well, there was a lady that had a dog.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, there was a frog dog.
Yeah,
there was a
right,
frog
yeah.
dog being walked by.
I hope
Yeah.
she pitched
Oh,
off
yeah,
like
it was
all
a-
good responsible dog owners should. Yes.
What about the
Okay.
coolest part of the episode was the what do you call it? The recreation of the holiday special circus.
Oh yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Neil's, yeah, there was a nice little throwback or a nice little nod to that Neil's kids or brother and sister.
so apparently-
his brother and sisters, his young brother and sisters are watching it.
I was reading about it, and I guess the director or whoever, they wanted to use the clip, but they didn't. The only like actual thing they had was a VHS copy of the holiday special, so the quality was just so bad. So they ended up finding the people that had the costumes and all that, and recreated all that stuff, and they did a whole new sequence and shot it to look the same. They didn't even have the audio for so the song that they play is the same song from the holiday special, but they redid it because they
Wow.
Oh,
That
really?
is commitment. That's commitment.
they wanted to
You know,
have it
and
in
I must say, I kind of wish we would have sat down and watched that now, Ricky,
there.
because
Oh my God.
I didn't get any of those references at all. You know, I'm just like, I don't get
Still
it.
watch it, Ryan.
Yeah, but do I?
Yeah.
It's too late now, though. I missed my chance to experience it and be like,
I kind of
oh
knew
my
it
gosh.
subconsciously. And
It's
thinking,
it's my thing. Yeah, you only get one first time. So yeah, now that experience when you go back to rewatch Skeleton Crew after having watched the holiday special and knowing where that comes from, it's just that magic
well-
can't be captured. It's not going to be nearly as thrilling for you as it was for us when we
I
saw it.
think it still
wasn't all
will
that
be.
thrilling.
I think
It's
it
true.
still will be.
I just knew what it was from and thought it a nice nod and sort of interesting to hear that they went through the effort to recreating it
Yeah.
because I just assumed they repurposed some holiday special footage because clearly I wasn't well versed in being able to the holiday special footage to know was that from the actual thing or was that redone. Can't say I've seen it enough to know right away what that was going to look like. But I knew what it was, or I was pretty sure. I don't know that I knew 100%. Oh yeah, cool, that's holiday special. I had an inkling. I had a strong feeling. I could sense something in the force, and I'm like, I think they're they're going for. I think that might have been something, a throwback
You
to
should have
something in the
seen
holiday special.
mine and my daughter's faces when that scene popped up because we just both looked at each other with like giant eyes, like, oh my gosh. Like,
nah,
Because
and
right,
that's,
isn't it
and that's the thing
Chewbacca's-
that I won't experience that because I had to watch the recaps and I'm like, oh, is that what that is? Oh, neat. So I'm glad that you guys got that kind of reference, and it just would have been very fitting to be like to first time watch it, and then the show releases, and then I would have never thought they would reference it. You know, who would
Yeah.
have thought they would reference it?
It was a neat
It's weird because
nod.
they've
It was-
been sprinkling little holiday special things in all these series that's been coming out.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah, they have.
Itchy is who watches it, right? Isn't it the young
yeah, the
in the
son,
holiday
yeah.
special?
Yeah, the kid.
So yeah, episode that first episode was good. Right, how's it end? He gets caught, or basically, right, he
pushes
was
the
late
button.
for the
Takes off.
assessment test, or missed the assessment test and got in trouble. That's what it was, and that's where we meet. Well, we saw her riding around, her and oh geez, the girls' names, riding
Phoebe.
around on their bikes and
Mhm.
stuff. But this is where we truly get to meet her, and she's like, so what are you in for? Is a very I had a very Ferris Bueller's Day Off vibe. A little bit. I shouldn't say just as they're sitting there. So like, what are you in for? Between Ferris's sister and the Sheen boy, where they're just sitting there looking at each other. But it's trope. It's a trope. Sitting outside the principal's office. So what are you here for? What are you here for? Type of thing.
And I must say that this is the first series, like Star Wars series, that my stepkid is actually getting into. So I've tried watching some of the stuff with him, but he's too, I'll watch a few minutes of the movies and I'm going to go do something else type of thing. Well, this I tried to make because weekly TV shows just don't exist anymore, where you sit down all together every
Right.
week and you watch something on a Friday. And I've tried doing that in the past with when the Muppets came to ABC and they had their weekly show. I'd do that with my kids. But it's just a different time where everything's streaming, and you're like, oh, I'll just wait till it binges, and we'll sit down and watch a couple episodes. But no, it's like every week I just tried to make it like an event thing for him, where it's like, okay, we get home from school, you relax a bit, let's sit down and watch this, and he won't have it. I didn't even have to tell him to not have his phone or anything. They just didn't have their phone. They just watched it. They watched the first 2 episodes, and they're like, that was pretty good. So that's the most exciting part for me.
Yeah, cool.
Experiencing it with the kids. So just to kind of see them, it kept his attention the whole time, which is great for a show. So, and he only knows Star Wars through Fortnite, really. But it's just great. So that's my biggest excitement.
Fortnite.
Yeah. So that's my biggest excitement is, kind of seeing it with the kids for the first time, them asking questions about it. And it's like, yeah, all this stuff. So hopefully it's a gateway to other stuff down the road. So that's just my hope. So I'm glad they went kind of the throwback Goonies route pretty much because it's doing good.
How'd the episode end?
He pushes the button. He pushes that button and turns on the ship, and then it like starts lifting up out of the sky or out of the ground.
Oh, geez, you got me scared about what I can and can't talk about in the first second one. You're right. So the first episode, they make it as far as They go to the thing. Him and Neil go to the thing to dig it out, and he's like, somebody's been here.
And then
that's where they catch up with the girl.
Yeah.
And they get into a classic girl boys. Girls are so dumb. These boys are so dumb, and claimsies and unclaimsies, and you can't call unclaimsies.
Yeah.
You can't call unclaimsies without the claimer here, so they get caught up in it. Yeah, so they go inside the hatch or whatever, and
automatic takeoff.
Yeah.
They're trying to get power back, or why were they trying to get power back?
Well, they were just trying to turn it on.
Open the door.
They were
Open
already
the door.
inside.
Door shut behind it, didn't it?
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Right. They needed power to get the door open, but I'm like, no, they got the door open because they were already in. So somehow they got the door open. But once inside, it's shut, and they couldn't get it open again without power and KB.
Yeah, they were fine, and then he saw a little blinky light, and he's like, "What's this?" And he pushes it, and it turns on the whole ship.
Yeah, like we all would do. It's just the button. Don't press this, so you press it. Okay.
So clearly, we all recognized it was a ship there, or whatever. What do we think of why the? Like, I kind of envision the ship. How was the ship there but buried under the earth? It clearly crash landed a long time. It's weird. How is it there? It crash landed a long time ago.
I automatically went to it's a High Republic ship, but
did he bury it and he lives on the planet now? That's the other thing.
Well, yeah, later episodes, right? We did sort of have that sort of potential. They're right. He's still there in some fashion.
All right, second episode.
Okay, hang on. All right. Okay, so second episode dropped on the same day, 2nd December, of course, and it was called Way, Way Out Past the Barrier. And Wikipedia says the kids meet the ship's pilot, an aging droid named SM-33, who we will probably thereafter refer to as 33, who does not... Mr. Shmee, who does not realise, I won't go into that actually. No, sorry, I won't say that. I can personal details out if I say that. Who does not realise that his captain is long gone. Flora convinces him that she is his new captain, and he takes them to a nearby outpost, as Atom is not on any map. That's later. The kids venture through the outpost and accidentally split up, doing which Wim uses his lunch money to buy food, only to learn that his currency is considered very valuable. When he tells the locals that he's from At-Atom, everyone laughs, so they tell him that At-Atom is the name of a lost planet and that it holds a hidden treasure. A gang of pirates try to seize the kids by force to enslave them. SM-33 intervenes and tries to protect the children, but is quickly overwhelmed and gunned down. Brutus, the Wolfman, has the children thrown in the brig. Down there, they meet Silvo, who introduces himself as Jod Nawood, and reveals that he is Force-sensitive and has some usable knowledge. Wim, believing him to be a Jedi, agrees to work together so they can escape, with Jod offering to take the kids back to the ship as long as he gets to come with them. That be episode 2, everyone.
He does say, I can't remember no end in this episode.
No, he says, I can't say I remember no
Oh
atom.
yeah, I can't say I remember no atom.
Which is great piratey speak or whatever, but yeah, we'll talk about it in that later episode. But yeah, it was
I was saying,
he says I can't say I remember no atom.
This series really helps with me promoting Talk Like a Pirate Day in the future because we're going to do we're going to do Skeleton Crew references and stuff. So it's great. Yeah, excellent.
Well, it picked up right where. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. I'll try to go a little bit in order. Ryan.
Again, I just liked the. First of all, I find it funny that my wife didn't recognize SM-33 as Smee, as a callback to Smee the pirate from Captain Hook. Which I was like, "How did you not see that?" She's like, "I wasn't even thinking of it." So, well, because we watch subtitles, because it helps when you watch the subtitles, because you see that it looks like Smee. So I thought that was really good. But yeah, so I enjoyed that. I like that pretty much every Star Wars needs its own cantina scene, and it has it, I guess, up in space, where they're at like this big hidden bar type of thing. And I thought that just whole scene was really neat. A lot of different aliens again. So again, just another great section of Star Wars cantina.
It's not like Andor. It's not like Andor where there's no aliens in it. Tick mark. Okay, tick. Yeah.
There's plenty of aliens in Andor.
Okay, we'll go back. We're sure to revisit that back in April, and it is.
Yeah, that was just kind of it. I really liked that the cantina light scene. Again, more different aliens. It builds the mystery even further when they just have these High Republic credits. This was the kind of what I say? Did I say High Republic?
You said High Republic.
Oh, okay.
High Republic.
Yeah, Old Republic. Yeah, Old Republic credits. And I really liked that the big guess that everyone had, because that scene was in the trailer where he tried to pay with the credits. I like that the big guess was, hey, they found all these credits on the ship. So, and they're like, just using the credits. But the twist was, no, that's their money. They didn't find it. They didn't find it treasure on the ship and stuff like that. That's the money they use. So it's interesting that they showed that in the trailer, and it kind of still tricked everybody. Tricked all of us to thinking about it.
Yeah, it made sense that they found pirate treasure and go on an adventure on the ship, or the ship takes off without them, and they find the money on there, so they're just out in the galaxy trying to figure out a way home and have it to spend, whatever. But it was a bit of a good ruse.
You're used to Star Wars, everyone being poor, so these kids actually have money.
Well, I mean, poor, but it was just never. So it was never. Money was never really a commodity or a. The people had it when they needed it. I don't know. I guess there was poor because you had wanting the money. You had Obi-Wan and Luke selling things, whatever. But it always never really factored in so much as it is here in this one. As it should. Because right,
playing Outlaws. I don't know.
They're showing off shiny, untarnished.
That's a good question. Where did Obi-Wan get all those credits from in A New Hope?
He had a job. He was cutting up fish. Remember?
Factory.
Well, that's a lot of credits, though, isn't it? I don't know how much you earn a day, but yeah.
Oh, he was only there for 19 years,
Oh, well, that's a good point. Yeah, there's good time, plenty of time to save a lot of.
He does end up upgrading. He gets a house, and he doesn't live in that little hole anymore. Well, killed somebody for it, but.
Okay, Ricky.
I like all the little when they're walking around, like the when they first get to the pirate planet, and there's all those little that little flying creature, the little pink flying creature, and it looks like a cat with wings, and there's those weird fishes and all. There's a lot of cool things like creatures, and it did remind me of walk around like Galaxy's Edge, where you're in this place, it looks pretty cool, and all the other pirates and like you were saying, there's lots of characters in this thing, but yeah, I do like Smee, and then the little monster comes out of his eye, and. And they're cooking. This episode really did remind me of Outlaws a lot, because in that game, you probably saw, Steven, where you could feed the little Nix character.
Got his name, Nix.
Yeah, so when they're sitting down there eating, and they're pouring them those bowls of that slosh stuff, and they're like, "What's this?"
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, on kimchi, whatever that plant's called. Kimchi.
It did look like kimchi. And I just thought it was cool. And then they have the big old. This is where the pirate. Or Shmi uppercuts the dude, and he flies in the air. Is that this episode?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I think
now.
it's the next one where they had to. I don't know that I remember.
No, it
that.
is. Yeah, because this is one where they shoot him, and then I thought they destroyed
Right,
that
they
robot right away. Yeah, I thought that was cool. And then they get locked in the pirate den, jail, whatever. And then they meet what's his name, and is he a Jedi? Is he not a Jedi? You know.
Yeah, that's like the big thing, and even now he continues to do obviously well controlled and practiced Force things. So I'm kind of wondering what's his backstory, and he's of age that he could have been a Padawan during Order
Like
66.
Kanan's age. Yeah.
Hmm.
Or like Hal.
Yeah, he could
you
have
know?
been. Yeah. So what? It's 19.
I think there's,
we're saying
there's
it's about-
already it's already people online, isn't there, speculating which Jedi each Padawan young then that everybody knew about he could be, sort of thing. It's like,
I'm gonna
you know.
guess George Lucas's kid. You know, the one that got shot while trying to help. What's his name? Bale escape. I'm gonna say he actually survived. That's my guess.
No, that kid get killed.
Now I'm gonna say he actually survived. Okay. We didn't see a
He
body.
survived being shot and falling over the edge.
He didn't fall over the edge.
Didn't he?
No,
Did
he
he shot? I thought he fell over the edge.
I don't think so.
Well, he survived. So did Mace. Yeah.
Not Mace dead. So, but no, I find whatever his backstory may be, interesting. And again, we have 3 episodes left. While it's not as cliffhangery as, like, let's say The Acolyte, where every episode is like, oh my God, what the heck's going on, and all this other stuff, you could see a big story just kind of building. And with 3 episodes left, what's kind of the mystery to get him home, and what's going to be the impact at the end of the series type of thing. So, I don't know. It's just I really like Jod as a character. He has a ton of different names. So I just wonder what you guys thought. Do you think he's maybe a Padawan that left before episode 66? Was he maybe trained by somebody else and he was never in the Jedi? Because it's 5 years for the original trilogy and another. So it's 29 years after Order 66 about. So
I don't know how old
So
Jude
that-
Law is.
He's 40s, in his 40s, isn't he? I'm sure any of that makes a difference. He could be a long-lived
he's
human.
52.
52. Good age, a very
Yeah,
good age.
But he could easily play someone in his mid-40s, type of thing.
Yeah. Well, there's speculation for another day. We'll get to that. We'll get to that conversation, I'm sure, as we get through the other episodes. Hold that thought. Ron.
Enjoyed this as well. The one thing I do remember, even so much so that I sort of noted it and found it, they because they were in hyperspace. Like it was one of those cool things where it started right where the last one ended. Right, the last one ended them blasting off into hyperspace, and this starts with them still in the hyperspace tunnel, and they came out of it in a weird way. If you watch it again, if you noted or whatever, I couldn't remember. It didn't stop like we've always seen. We've seen it was like a Clone Wars sort of. The ship got hit by something, or it spun out of control out of hyperspace. It was really weird coming out of hyperspace, and it was because Wim pushed more buttons. On a subsequent rewatch and going back at it and watching it, he was like, "Wait, I can get us out of this. I can get us out of this," and hit some more buttons and pulls it out of hyperspace in the wrong way because he doesn't know what he's doing.
Like,
He's just
flowy thing.
Yeah, he's just mashing buttons and doing stuff or whatever. And the kids are clearly, they're like, well, if that was hyperspace, they're seeing all the stars. They're seeing stuff they've never seen about or only ever seen in books. They've clearly not traveled off planet. It's all very new, and even hyperspace was scary to them. So this is all foreign to them. They may have understood it or heard the concepts of it or whatever, read about it type of thing, but have never experienced it. And there was a line in there, one of them, and I just remember thinking, oh man, they could have used the Star Wars tagline, because they say they're like really, really, really far away, and instead of saying we're far, far away. I just remember with the audio captions on thinking, oh, you should have went with we're far, far away, or in a galaxy far, far away. They went with like we're really, really far away or something. There was
they say we're really, really, really far away.
Yeah, we're just really far away. I was just like, oh, how do you not go with the Star Wars lines of as a Star Wars fan? That was just what stood out to me. But the excitement on their faces, the storytelling aspect of the wait, where are we going? The right? The droid comes alive and he's like, all right, well, which one's home? And pointing at all the, because in space, the star field is going to be so, there's no clouds in your way. There's no ambient light from city lights clouding your view. If you've ever seen a starry sky out in a field far away from anything metropolitan, it's amazing how many more stars, how much clearer the Milky Way galaxy, the pronounced view of the Milky Way galaxy is to you. So if you're in space like they are in a ship, they're just seeing this vast array of dots and just incredulous to what they're viewing, that, like, where's home? And then the pilot droid clearly will take them there. He's just like, well, points at the sky and is like, which one is it? And they have no clue. It made for that neat, that neat adventure piece. It did like the introduction to Smee, as you said, and that throwback to the pirates and the little rat droid poking out his eye, being scared. Is the rat controlling him or just living in there? It feels like it's just living in there now type of thing. But
yeah,
the droid drops some names too, right? He's like, he says I think this is where we first get the can't say I remember no at, and maybe you're thinking of at Adelon or
yeah, he names all these
this,
other places.
Yeah, he doesn't. This isn't where they name Alderaan. That's later, but he names Aldhani. He names Aldhani, which is right, the credit place or whatever in Andor. So just fun to be in the Star Wars universe and have things sort of have those ties in. But that spaceport, the pirate port that he takes him to, and I think this is the one where the kids are like, "Why'd you take us here? It's a thing full of pirates," and they're like, "Oh, because we're pirates." That they're coming to this realization. All the creatures, and like I said, the cantined aspect of that spaceport. The kids walking around and buying food and everything is a little like, wait, this is supposed to be mean and tough. Why wouldn't somebody be looking at these kids wondering why the hell are there kids in a spaceport without anybody around? But maybe it isn't as uncommon as you would think. But it was gorgeous to look at. It was a neat environment for them to be in, get their ship repaired or whatever it was that they needed to do. Is this a line? This is the one where I think it's like how they get past, how they know our coordinates and how they know I might be getting ahead of myself, but right, the pirate ship and the pirate pilot, Smee, would know the coordinates and know how to get there. Why it got past, why you didn't have to like check in with landing control and just pull into a ship or whatever past the cannons that protected it seemed a little, but it worked. It got him into the ports. Just loved the piratey.
Well, he knows to hide his money.
Dock. The way it was piratey, but it was in space with all the boats docked up at the various docks that and the lines, the rigging lines and the fuel lines, just all those things that going into a ship or whatever. But it looked like where a bunch of pirate boats would be docked, or a bunch of boats would be docked. It was very cool. I enjoyed it. I can't remember how that second.
I enjoyed.
Oh no,
when Smee got all scary. That's when he kind of did his first, when he starts to fight back everybody. Oh, that was great. When he goes to protect the kids.
Oh, yeah.
His arms, that's the first time his arms and legs kind of get all long and he breaks people's chest. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's
well, then like he's like getting
the Smee
shot
toy
at.
with battle mode where he can get in battle mode and get big, and
he has those shields and they start getting all bright red because he's getting blasted, and then he uses it to burn the other guy. Like that was pretty awesome. The whole fight sequence is cool.
I'm sure we should be laughing when he burns somebody else in attack mode. Okay, Murray.
Again, very much love the feel of this one, the pirate-based planet and all of that kind of thing. Again, call back to like that whole Goonies thing and that adventure type of thing.
We could say back to the day when we were all kids and we were all pirates.
Yeah, basically, it was like playing pirates and like making each other walk the plank and do all those kinds of things. I'm surprised that none of you noticed, but then again, none of you might be as big Disney heads as I am, except maybe you, Ricky. The little pink creature with wings, that was Fuzzball from Captain EO.
Oh, that's where that was from. Yeah, I do remember somebody saying there was something from Captain EO. I never watched Captain EO.
You never watched Captain EO?
No, I never did.
Went on that ride.
No,
you might not be old enough to have seen it, right? It was probably, it aged out.
It was gone by the time we went. Yeah, to Disneyland.
Came back
Yeah.
briefly for a little bit.
It came
I
back
did-
briefly after Michael Jackson died, but
Mm.
but yeah, that was an instant, like, this is definitely, again, love letter to us 80s kids, because why else would that be in there?
Well,
Yeah,
and
it's
then
a
there was that
perfect
little
place
creature
for
from
them to
Ewoks
show
too,
it.
right? The little creature was from the second Ewok movie that fixed the ship.
Yeah,
Pilot, the
there's like,
dinghy pilot,
He was a little fuzzy guy.
the dinghy pilot that transported them from their ship proper to
Maybe.
the port
Yeah.
itself. That little
Port,
guy
yeah.
that they had to pay. He's
Yeah,
from,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think he's from
Yeah.
Ewoks.
yeah, he's one of the Teeks, right?
Yeah, it's a teak. That's
I
what it was.
think from one of the Ewok movies. I can't remember if it was Caravan of Courage, probably. I think it was
It was-
Caravan of Courage.
Whatever one was the second one he was in.
Yeah, it was Caravan of Courage.
Do we think
which was
sorry.
one of my favorites growing up, by the way. Sorry, Ron, you were saying?
do we think I don't think she was a Twi'lek, but the dancer that was like,
yeah.
where are you girls from? And you guys, your kids, you got to get out. Was she genuinely fearing for them? Or was she trying to be like the other pirates and just steal their money or whatever? I bought it. I thought she was genuinely trying
She
to look
seemed
out for their
genuine,
safety.
yeah.
Yeah, me
Seemed
too.
genuine.
What are you guys
Yeah.
trying?
I don't know.
What are
It's
you
still
guys
she was
doing
trying to
here?
get information from them after they said Ed Atten. And she's like, come on, seriously, where
Well,
are you from?
yeah,
You know?
she did a little bit of piratey, but I still think she was reasonably genuine.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was genuine, but that whole thing with, like, come on, where are you really from? That kind of clued you in that there's something not quite right with the whole Ed Atten thing. That was, I mean, you didn't notice it as much in the first episode, but as soon as they started in with SM-33 and Can't Say I Remember No Ed Atten, that's when you were like, well, what's going on here? What's really going on beneath the surface? Because there's something strange about this whole thing. And I like the bit when they paid for their meal and the guy was like trying to swindle them out of more money. And
Yeah,
that
once he
kind of thing.
realizes, the kids and the real credits, he's like, well, wait a minute, and then you got a tip and the extra stuff, and
Yeah.
somebody's just looking out for the kids, like, careful, he's trying to swindle you,
Really?
or whatever that.
Did they? Didn't actually eat
That was
it.
that's where Neil is that atypical sort of, he's that character where he's like, where'd you get that? And he's like, oh, his dad gave it to him for lunch money. It's just like, oh my God, you're in this bad environment. Recognize your surroundings. That is not the place where you say something like that. They called them.
Yeah.
I guess they were using a word. They were credits, but then it's somewhere else. He calls them, or they're like, you're trying to steal my data.
Dataries.
Is that a term we've
Yeah.
heard or seen before in a book term? And is that just a term
Yes.
for money?
We've heard that before in Phantom Menace.
But what
Yeah, they've
what
done
is the equivalent of what is that term? Because they're credits. So what's the
It's money.
credits? So it's
It's-
just
it-
another term for money, just like credits is money.
Yeah.
Okay. I knew that's what it was clearly from the context of the thing, but I just didn't understand why they needed to, I'm going to hide my credits in my sock. But he says I'm going to hide my dataries in my sock. Is that like I'm going to hide my bills in my sock versus I'm going to hide my money, generic money, coins, bills in my sock, or is it just another
Bucks.
way, just another say? Yeah.
Notes, they all got different things to them. But dataries definitely isn't used very much at all. So again, that's just a nice callback to things, and it's
expanding the Star Wars universe, which is awesome. And the creatures that we have when they're fighting over the they find that money with the kids, and the fish-like dudes like, I'm gonna cut your breathing sac, or just it was such a great sort of. I think this is the one too where Neil's like, look, aliens, right? And he walking around, and when they first get on the port, and I think Neil has the line, look, aliens or whatever, and the elephant boy is surprised by seeing all these aliens. It was a funny contextual sort of line that the alien is surprised by seeing all the other aliens, but look good. Excited to see it. And yeah, we get Smee in battle.
Well, remember,
clearly
they're-
a toy. Smee with battle
even-
mode coming.
even though Neil has technical aliens on his planet, even though Neil might be the alien, or excuse me, like his little curly head friend, even though they have aliens,
yeah,
they all
there
look
was
at each
a-
other, so they don't seem
weird-
like aliens. So when they see
Right.
the new
Truly.
species, they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's an alien!" And you're standing next to something that's, barely like you at all. So,
Yeah.
but he recognizes it's still part of his planet. Again, it's just a kid's point of view looking at things. It's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it shows how naive they are and goofy. Yeah.
Yeah, as smart as they are, and as full of bravado, they're also naive to everything that's going on, which is their protector. Their sort of innocence is what protects them to the point where they're pretty much caught or in trouble, and Smee comes to their rescue, thankfully, to some extent. But they still get caught, or they still get thrown in they still get thrown in the brig for whatever reason, right? Why does Wolfman come? Just they have that battle with Smee.
I think he's there, and then they hear that, or that's like his place now, and then he kind of escapes. Then they hear that he escapes because the kids escape, and they're like, "Uh-oh, John's gone too."
No, but I mean, how did they get into why did he? They have the fight with Smee. Why does he think anything of the kids? Did he throw him off in the? I guess Wolfman gets wind of them being from At and wants to know a little bit more about what they are or whatever. Just like throw them in the brig or something like that.
Yeah, he just learns about like, what are you kids doing here? And
well, they're causing all sorts of trouble.
They're
causing all sorts of trouble on his ports. How did the kids get here? How did they get past our defenses? How they know about our thing? Let's throw them in the brig and find out what's going. Let them cool off and let's find out what they're going.
Yeah.
Because that's where she does talk back to him. It's like, well, wait, why'd you? Brutus is asking them, what do you guys know? Where are you guys from? Or how'd you get past all that stuff? And she gets all smart about it. It's like, well, why don't you ask her? You should have asked our droid before you shot him. It's just,
yeah.
I thought that was a smart ass, clever line. But yeah, so to get into the brig and I was caught up into the story. So we meet the character in there that's helping him, and he pulls his hood back and it ends. And I just remember going, oh, I was so enthralled into the story. I was not expecting that to be, it made total sense, perfect sense to be an ending point for the episode. But I was caught up in the episode, so much so caught up in the story that was unfolding that I was at that first blush, caught off guard when it ended right there, because it was just like, no, wait, I want more. It was, which to me spoke to the good storytelling that was transpiring, because it had me wanting more. It had me on the edge of my seat. I don't know if it's edge of my seat, but had me just enthralled in the story, that when it's cut and stopped like that, I was just like, shoot, I gotta wait till next week. Let's find out what's going on here.
Yeah, we're definitely we've turned into like a streaming generation where we want the whole story now. When we grew up on a time of not even really cliffhangers, I guess we grew up on just focused episodes like Mandalorian, like here's the story, here's what's going on, see you next time. Yeah, now we have all these cliffhangers, and for a short brief period in time, streaming service was great. There wasn't ads everywhere. There was only one streaming service. You watched the whole show, you got all the cliffhangers. Now it's like, I want it now, and that's it's a good thing. It means that they're doing well.
Very much. We talked about that last week, about how episodes were sort of concise and formulaic and buttoned up at the end, that you kind of could tell that that story was anywhere. As streaming, they just stop after 30-40 minutes sometimes or whatever. They don't necessarily, and it's a good thing. It builds the suspense. I love I will always appreciate and enjoy the weekly drop of an episode. Gives us a chance to talk about it each week. Wait, what? We didn't do that? But anyway, it lets you ruminate. It lets you talk about it with people at work. It just and allows for a bit of a build. It allows for a bit of a build up and excitement to look forward to sitting down Tuesday night whenever you get a chance to watch that next episode drop. So,
and honestly, it's written like a comic book series, because to get the reader to want the next issue, you have to do a little bit of cliffhanger. So me, who reads a ton of comic books, I'd like that formula, because it really does keep the interest up.
That last panel would, I can see it in a comic book. That last panel would be him with his two-handed hood pulled down, it's revealing his
like,
face.
Dun, dun, and I'm like, I still don't know you. So
who is Jude Law? I mean,
who is Jude Law?
I know that he's an actor and he's famous and whatever, but he just He doesn't ring home. I don't know any. I'm showing my age here completely. I don't know what he's from or why he's Jude
So
Law.
wasn't he in a relationship with somebody famous?
Sherlock Holmes.
Does it matter?
Yeah,
Did
no,
he know-
what do we know him
That's what I
from?
was thinking.
He's Tom Cruise. I know what I know him from. Bruce Willis. I know what I know him from. I don't know. It just he's that name. I know I've heard it, but Michael Keaton. I know where I know him from, but I don't know why or where I should know Jude Law from.
He's relatively
Unbelievable. I'm gonna have to Google him in a minute.
Did you guys recognize him as the captain? Like so.
Yes.
I didn't recognize
The voice,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah, so I didn't catch his voice, didn't know his voice enough, and I didn't realize until this episode that wait, in the brig, that's the guy. Because I just assumed they killed the captain. When he says, there's one credit, and so it's mutiny then, and Blaster's all pointing at him, and he fights his way out. I just assumed they killed the captain. And the Wolfman's the new, and we'll find Jude Law as a somewhere in this episode during the reveal is where I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that's probably the captain from the. It totally got me. I did not know who he was in episode 1. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Then I'm like,
I'm
that's
glad
probably the captain from the episode. They didn't kill him. They threw him in the brig.
Yeah.
That makes sense now.
I'm glad because we all knew his name was John already, so I'm glad the subtitles didn't give it away at the beginning. It wasn't like, and Jod says because he had a mask on, so we really didn't know who.
Yeah,
it
we
was,
have
type
seen.
of thing.
We have seen where
The
that's
subtitles didn't
yep.
give it away, so I appreciate that.
The talented Mr. Ripley was what brought him to fame.
He's just been in tons of stuff in like minor roles,
Yeah.
but I feel like he's always just in movies and just pops up.
I would have to say I have not seen it yet. Talented Mr. Ripley. So, but
I've
I
seen
do
that.
know the name.
Well, that would explain a little bit too. Yeah, I can't say that I know what that even is.
I mean, he's in
about.
Fantastic Beasts. He's in Captain Marvel. He's in
Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Oh, is he the bad guy? The good guy? He's that guy in Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
He's Marvel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was also wasn't he Watson in the Sherlock Holmes movies?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I did see that. Yeah. So Marvel's about the only one I've seen of his.
The Aviator. He was in there.
Anyway, I didn't know why I should know. I knew that he was he was the lead, the name in the show, the actor that everybody was telling about, but I just can't say that I knew what he was from or knew him like that. But he's doing well. I think he's doing well as a pirate. We're not sure who he is, what he is.
First of all, he's British. So what more can I say? Very, very.
If you were a teenager or a young woman of the early 90s or late 90s, then you know who he is. So yeah.
Okay. Let's move on. We shall move on to episode 3. Excuse me, a bit of indigestion, just has some biscuits and a cup of tea while I'm talking.
Jeez.
Okay,
Do you have
episode
to breathe? Do you have to be so British? I mean,
Yes, he does.
Yes, I
Yeah,
do.
yeah, one
Have
or
to
the other,
want-
please. Not
Every
both.
occasion is a tea drinking occasion.
Sure.
Yeah.
He's got to
Okay.
put his monocle on to read the.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I've got
I'll enjoy
umbrella.
my cheeseburger and my pop then. Like,
Your pop.
Okay, so it's the third episode dropped a week after on December the 10th and was entitled Very Interesting as an Astrogation Problem. I don't remember that. Obviously, that must have been said somewhere in the episode. So, on Atatum, Wendell, Farah, Neil's mother, Numa, and KB's parents, Marie and Gary, are told by a security droid that due to the parents going past the barrier, it is out of the jurisdiction of the droids. Jod helps the kids escape the brig, but they refuse to leave her SM-33, forcing him to go back and rescue him as Brander Panic identifies Jod as Silvo. They outwit the pirates and flee. Fern refuses to trust Jod. Wim and Neil are convinced that he is a real Jedi, and KB reluctantly admits that he is their only hope of getting home. Jod takes the kids to meet his friend, in quotes, Kim, a map expert that he doesn't even trust. Kim refers to Jod as Crimson Jack before revealing that Atatum is among a series of legendary planets that have protected themselves from a barrier. She prints the coordinates, but Jod realizes that she was stolen for the authorities to arrive and forces the kids to flee. Jod finally admits that he's not a Jedi, but agrees that they must work together to get what they want and escape the authorities to their next destination. X-Wing Commander Kent interrogates Kim about the group's whereabouts as she quotes, "You won't believe me if I told you." And there we go. All starts happening. Kim the owl. We're getting very stereotypical here. We've got an owl, an elephant, and a beast. I mean, this is not very Pacific Fast, is it? But we all know what we're talking about. Ryan.
I just like the further exploration of Jod's character, where we start to realize more and more it's, can we trust him, can we not? And then they use Crimson Jack, which is I think a legend story type of thing on a pirate. So I don't know if it's legends or canon, but yeah, that's definitely a name that has been thrown around in a little bit of very few Star Wars books. And again, it's just Jod is getting, he's an interesting character. It's not a huge, again, I hate comparing it to Acolyte, but that's kind of like the most recent one. And it's definitely different where each episode is some huge mystery. This is just kind of like a slow building story. So that's like kind of ever increasing each time you find out something new about the character. And I'm just intrigued. I want to know who or what Jod is, what he's doing. Is he obviously, his plan is to get rich, I guess? Is he truly a pirate? Is he going to turn good for the kids? So it's just, I liked the owl character and the mystery. It was kind of definitely a in-between episode where they're like, okay, let's reestablish the characters and point them in the direction that they need to go type of thing. And it was fun. We got to see each of the characters grow. So it was good. This episode was solid.
Solid. And Kim was pretty hysterical as a character, I thought. Kind of reminded me a little bit from, what's that character in Resistance? There was an owl in Resistance, wasn't there? Ricky, remember? Well, no, those two, the gay couple in the shop.
What was it? Was he an owl?
No, it was like he was like more like an ostrich, wasn't he?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was. Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. Oh yeah, okay, go for it, Ricky.
No, like this one was more like just giving you more exposition on the planet and like more mystery, kind of like filling in. Because it's weird that they didn't recognize X-Wings, that were the good guys. So they're like shooting at them and trying to get away. Like, you probably should just stop and talk to the Republic guys, but they don't know. So it makes you wonder.
I was worried that if they shot an X-Wing down, wouldn't they then therefore have a criminal record? And that would kind of really screw things up. But anyhow, yeah.
I mean, Jod probably already did, but But yeah, I mean, it just this one just had like you second guess, like, well, what planet are they from, and is it really a treasure planet, and like why are they stuck there, and how come the parents aren't getting any help, and it's kind of like the security droids are like being super creepy, and everything, and they're like the parents are kind of being kept in the dark, and they're like, oh well, they're too far, so we can't go for them. Like it just like their planet's kind of sketchy, and like who do you trust and all this stuff, and that little owl was wearing a cape, so they're a bad guy. And
an owl with a cape, yes.
But yeah,
that must be awkward.
I thought it was
cool. Fly, isn't it? But yeah,
it was a good episode. It's just it was not very much happened. Like it's only like maybe 3 sets in the whole thing, but it's because they're just trying to build that tension and kind
this is the episode I was worried. I'm like, oh man, it didn't have like a big cliffhanger, so I'm hoping that my kid will still be entertained, for the next week type of thing. So this was kind of like, that's why I say it was. I don't want to call it filler, but it was just a reestablishment.
Exposition.
That's a big word. I don't know what it is. So it sounds nice though. But yeah, this was the one I'm like, oh man, I hope my kid stays with it. But then the 4th and the 5th, he was like, yeah, that was really good. So again, it's a nice solid story in this one.
Yeah.
Okay. So Ron, did you give 2 hoops about this? 2 hoots? Get it?
I did.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would agree that it was. Ryan said something that stood out to me: a slow developing story. I think it's moving quite quickly, in a good way. The story's moving along. You're getting that exposition, as Ricky said, that we get established right up the front that At-Aten is somewhere that is shielded, protected, or otherwise, because the droids telling the parents we can't go after them. If they've left, we can't risk exposure. Basically, we can't don't try it. You're going to set off a bunch of security protocols. That it's being there's a lot of establishment into this into the story and what's coming. That what we suspected about AT-AT and the like is kind of true, because right, they are shielded, they are protected, they don't, like Ricky said, they don't know about the X-Wings later in the episode. They don't know about the Republic. They're in their happy own little utopian space, which is great for them. But Wim wanted that adventure, and they're off on this adventure. Jod's believing they're at, and I think he's trying to reestablish his captain score. Like, remember when he went into the vault, right as he's kicking the door down to the vault, he tells them all, I know the times have been lean, but your good old captain's finally brought you to, the honeypot, the mother lode. Kicks open the door and there's just nothing in there. So he'd love to find AT-AT and redeem himself as the captain that can find the big score, the big treasure, or come home with all that type of thing. That's kind of my take at this point of his motivations of trying to find it so that he could not necessarily have it to himself, but get his crew back, win his reputation, win his status back in some fashion. Because there's a bunch of names dropped in not this episode, but the next episodes he goes by a bunch. The reveal, or him going back for the droid was a fun little side adventure of him trying to get back, turning on all the other different droids and all the silliness that they're saying, and make sure you get the rat, just a fun little adventure of him going back. But he meets another cool character design, and we talk about aliens, and seeing a very believable I don't know what kind. Is that an issue tip? I don't know what kind of character that dude was. That was like, oh, there's my good cat. It was very piratey speak, but he recognized him. But he also knew that Brutus wouldn't have let him out of the brig as soon as he did. Type of I forget what type of character. But it was very believable.
Episodes, haven't we? We've just gone back an episode. We've gone back an episode. That was in episode 2.
Where this is the episode where he.
This is the Arrow episode.
It is, but he has to get that's what I mean. The story moves along so fast. He had to get SM-33. They escape, and this is the fuel line. And he's like, it's a very well-made fuel line. He's I know, I got an idea. I'll snap the fuel line. He's like, this is a very well-made fuel line, and he wrecks all the other pirate boats. It was a gorgeous episode to watch from all the special effects that do not look like special effects. They all look very, very real. That they escape and make their way off to sea. What's her name? What's the owl lady's name? Kim, spelled Kim. In a very Star Warsy way. When I heard it, you're just like, Kim, that's not very, but when you see it on this KH''YMM or something like that, but a surprise, a welcome surprise for sure. Had no idea we were getting that type of character, and was blown away by the character design, and happy to see them use something new and something odd. It was like a cat-like owl creature-ish character design that was so wonderfully believable and exciting to see and watch and interact with our storyteller characters that we're following along. That it was a very good episode in moving this and providing a bunch. And I just remember her getting excited by Kim getting excited by them being from AT-AT, and that she kind of forgets that she was supposed to be stalling. She's like diving into the AT-AT, and wait, yeah, no, I've got this. It's not a map, but here's some, and giving the history lesson. She becomes this professorial, or this student. Or not the student, this teacher, and the person that's been researching this all this life, wants to show her knowledge and help and explain it. And then she realized, oh wait, shoot, I'm not supposed to be helping them find this. I'm supposed to be stalling. So yeah, this could take a while. This is going to be, wait, this isn't the right information. I need to look. There was a neat sort of character development in that new character that we saw that quickly, to where she was going from this very scholastic, knowledgeable thing that wanted to show off and wanted to add to it and all that, to the trying to rescue or trying to capture him because of whatever whatever it was she was doing, that she needed to stall him so that the Republic guys could come. Goons, that's what it was. The Republic.
Yeah,
goons.
This is the one where she's like, you know any other planets? He's like, we know Coruscant and Alderaan, and she's like, you missed the war, did you?
Yes, this is the one with that line. I love that line where they're describing things, and yeah, she sees the symbol on her backpack on Wim's back, or whoever's backpack that, and yeah, it has that line of "Missed the war, did you?" Yeah.
This is the one where he does go back and get the droid because he finds the battle droid and it turns it on. He's like, "Did we win?" And then
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That
and then the other one he turns on the other droid. He's like, "I gotta save the prince," and then he runs off.
It was a side adventure, if you will, but it was a great side adventure because we see all those droids and he has to rescue Carrie Smee, or however he gets Smee going, and I just remember taking off in the ship to where he like takes off and he wrecks a bunch of he wrecks a bunch of the other pirate ships so they can't follow him basically quickly or easily. There was all those other ships. It's like if they escape, clearly they could go chasing after him. But the way they pull off with the lines and everything, they wreck a bunch of other ships to sort of, because I think we even see Wolfman, what's his name? Brutus. We even see him sort of standing there, furrowing his, shaking his fist as they get away type of good guy, bad guy-ish motif. I think this is the episode though where there was also a line. They're in that little pilot ship, that little dinghy that's taking them to the ship, and the kids are trying to tell him which ship is theirs. And there was another missed opportunity. The Star Wars fan in me was like, "You came in that thing?" He didn't say you came in that thing, but he could have. It was a perfect setup for the, "Oh my, you came in that thing," like Leia says about the Falcon, but he says something else, or he's like, "Oh no, not that ship," or something. Anyway, I enjoyed the episode immensely. The story is moving along at a quick pace. You're not quite sure what's going on, but we keep getting added more context to it that clearly AT-AT is something that doesn't want to be found or is trying to be protected for reasons we are still yet to learn.
Okay, Marie.
So another great episode in the form of Kim, because I'm very partial to owls, and the whole aspect of her being like kind of a professor of astrogation and all of that was kind of cool. And it brought back another 80s thing for me, which was the owl from the Tootsie Pop commercials. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? So like if you grew up in the 80s, that commercial was everywhere, and you know that it's 3 licks because he bites the thing. But anyway, yeah, that was really cool the way they set that up, and her kind of like Ron said, stalling for time when she realized, oh wait, I got to keep these kids here while we wait for the Republic to show up. And the other thing I really liked too was the fact that Jod isn't who we think he is. I mean, he's Crimson Jack, he's Jod Nana Wood, and then he's also Captain Silvo, but that's not revealed quite yet as far as the story goes. And the story is actually moving along at a pretty good clip, even though this episode was like mostly exposition and I felt like kind of a filler episode. It kind of slowed down and not a whole lot happened, but a whole lot of story gets packed into this, so that's great. I love the fact that the kids completely have missed that there was a war out there and Alderaan no longer exists, because they're like, hey, we know Alderaan, and it's like, no, you don't. Alderaan's gone. But all in all, this was a solid episode, even though, like others said, it's not, I mean, not much happens besides the searching for Smee, SM-33, and the whole thing with Kim. But I thought it was a great episode either way, because it moves the story. Even though nothing really happens action-wise, it moves the story along because it fills in a lot of gaps that we're not getting, a lot of information that we haven't gotten thus far. So that was a pretty good episode as far as that's concerned.
Yes,
and building up the story and the mystery.
We get more confirmation from Jod about his Jedi claims and stuff in this as well, and some way to point them towards somewhere else to go next, really, isn't it? So they're pretty much lost in space, so helps them have some next destination to go to rather than just randomly flying about.
Right.
Hmm.
Well, I love
Good.
the storyline, the history lesson, to where Kim rolls out. She says there's no map to At-Aten, but she has the scroll, and we get the storyline and the planets and the other planets, and
Oh yes,
that
the
she
9
had
gems
that.
of the old republic or
Yeah,
whatever it was.
there was such great, a lot of exposition there from a story standpoint to what's going on that we've never heard of as Star Wars fans or whatever. That's where I say she to me, the character got excited to be able to show her knowledge and and was excited to go get that scroll and show it to someone, because she's collected it, she's had it for years, but never she's excited to sort of go back and play in that space and go down that rabbit hole to try to look for it. And she's got now people to ask questions of, well, what can you tell me? Oh, nebulous, and just all that sort of stuff to help her try to give some coordinates or narrow it down was a neat, fun piece of story we hadn't seen, and getting some history to it, and helping us at the time. And this is what, the third episode, we don't know as much as we do now, but helping us at the time figure out more about what At-Aten is, or what it could be, or helping to, I guess, solidify what we've been suspecting about how At-Aten is sort of hidden for some reason.
Okay, and I would love to spend a good day in Kim's library. I have to say, I do love a good library and scrolls and books and stuff. Okay, yes, we'll move along, because we've still got 2 episodes to discuss. And this is everyone's favourite, next one is everyone's favourite episode title, which is episode 4, which is Can't Say I Remember No At-Aten, which got mentioned. Well, this will be a quiz question in the future. How many times is this said in the episode? I should remember this when we do our quiz, a big annual quiz, whenever it is, next month or so. So the crew used Kim's coordinates to arrive at what they believe to be At-Aten. The planet turns out to resemble a war-torn version of it, and later they learn that they are actually on At-Akrim, one of the sister planets. Jod stays on the ship with SM-33 while the kids venture out. They run into soldiers who identify themselves as the Troiks, who have been at war with the Hattans, who have stolen their, I can't remember if that was EOPs. EOPs, yeah. Neil befriends a young girl soldier named Hannah, whose father, General Strikes, insists that the children be treated like adults. Neil does not take the violent lifestyle, preferring a more humane approach. The kids are to aid the Troiks in getting their EOPs back, but Jod and SM-33 buy them back, or do they, from the Hattans. As a reward, they are directed to the Kroats Fallen Sanctum, which resembles the Supervisor's Tower on At-Aten. The crew find that it contains the coordinates to other similar planets, but At-Aten's has been scratched out. SM-33 reveals that he destroyed it, but his memory has been wiped. Fern orders him to remember, and he reveals that At-Aten is where the former captain hid his treasure. Suddenly, SM-33 attacks the group as part of an order from the previous captain. Jod turns him off, and Neil faints after helping to save his friends. Hey, I can't say I remember no At-Aten. I'm going to have to get them counted off for the quiz. Okay, Ryan.
Great episode. Like, it just went running back into it, and it was so character focused on everyone's kind of like favorite little kid, Neil, that I just loved it. I loved that, and like I said, watching with my kid, you see the character grow, and he gets rewarded for doing good things, and he's trying to bring peace, and he's like, well, I don't understand why everybody's hungry and stuff like that. Coming to the realization that the galaxy is different, and other areas that you go to like aren't safe, type of thing. So I loved the focus on Neil. I thought it was great, and I love the mystery about the tower, where they say, oh, we got one of those on At-Aten, but no one's allowed near it. So it makes you wonder if every tower kind of has those coordinates. And it's just great that whoever this pirate is that had Smee, and they had him destroy the coordinates so he can go there. I'm just like, man, it was just such a good story overall. There wasn't, just like the new characters, they were neat and interesting to see their point of view. The realization that there's 7 to 9 other planets, all these At-At planets, and it was just a good expansion into Star Wars. I love learning more about the galaxy and all this stuff. It does make me wonder if all of these planets are behind the veil. Like, does each one have a veil? I can't remember why they're on at Akron if there's like a veil in the sky, or is only at Aten the one with like the hidden veil? Do you guys remember seeing anything like that?
Remnants of one, wasn't there? On Atakrim, there's a remnants of one, I think. Or I can't remember.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
I think there was. There's some fake greenness in the sky, or something's destroyed in the atmosphere, or something, wasn't there?
I mean, obviously it's a dirtier atmosphere, so it might have covered it. So it just kind of makes me wonder if each planet in the solar system is just kind of covered by some, or whatever, or a whole star or galaxy, whatever it might be. But each planet in this little system, I wonder if the whole system is covered, kind of like it was in the High Republic, where like a whole thing is covered, or is each planet kind of have this cloud over it? So it's like hidden behind a nebula type of thing, which they've done in Star Wars in the past.
Well, when they showed at Aden when he's looking up in the sky in the first episode, there's a bunch of little red dots all over the sky. So I don't know if that's like a net that they have over it, like electronically that shields it, you know?
Okay.
Kind of thing.
Okay.
But I think this one probably got destroyed. That's, I mean, because I think they did reference this one in the. Is this one of the plans where he's like, "You sure you don't mean Akron?" Or, you know.
Yeah, that's what he listed. He's like, "Well, we know
Yeah.
what Akron is." Yeah, at the beginning. Yeah.
Because it's been plundered. But I mean, it doesn't seem like these people could leave this planet though. But they just might not have the capability. I don't know.
Maybe like you said, where they've been plundered, where people have came, kind of robbed it of its riches, and left war behind, and they just don't have the time or maybe not even the technology. Like they want to build ships, but it's just like, well, we're in constant war. Every valuable piece is stolen by someone else, and they're just kind of stuck there. Could be.
Yes. Ricky? Elaborate more?
Yeah, no, this one was good. I remember thinking Neil was gonna die, but and like they're showing.
We're not gonna kill any
online.
No,
You'll get banished.
And Steven can attest to this from watching The Walking Dead seasons. Whenever they spend too much time on one character, it's like their final episode, and then they get killed at the end. So then when he was like fainted and fell down, I'm like, I know he didn't get hurt, but like that's why I kept joking that he was dying.
Well, because Neil's the heart of the team. You know, you have like the heart, you got the tech whiz, you kind of got like the two leaders. So he's like the heart of the team. So of course he deserved his own episode.
But yeah, I thought it was good. Then they had the OPs and all that stuff, and you get to see their planet, but it's like bizarro, you know, version of their planet with the tower and all that stuff. So it was a good episode. I enjoyed this one.
Did those Eopies look different from the one on Tatooine? I can't remember if you guys noticed that. I'm not saying they are. I'm just wondering. I thought they looked different, but I might be remembering.
They're off-world Eopies?
Like off-world
Yeah, honestly, I kind of
Jawas.
wonder.
They look more like, well, some of them, no. I mean, some of them had the horns, because I've seen those before. But yeah, some of them, a lot of them didn't. So I've seen the horned ones before somewhere else, but yeah.
It might just be like, oh, horses brought from another country into this, you know, area.
Yeah, they have like stripes and all that. So like the one on Kenobi that he rides, it's more like a camel and it has a longer neck and it doesn't have any kind of like pattern.
Well, at least they're not like Rise of the Skywalker, where they're clearly horses that have had artificial stuff stuck on top of them.
Well, those war horses.
War horses, yeah. Okay. Ron.
Yeah, war horses indeed. A fun episode. This is the one where I picked up because of the title. I'll get to that, I guess, in a little bit. But the bizarro planet aspect, the mere sheer mimicry, really had me sort of confused, or not confused, but just wanting to know more about. Because it wasn't a similar planet. The kids made it out like, look, there's the school, there's the tower, there's the, you know, it looked like Aten, but it wasn't. So, you know, I'm excited to learn, was that done to protect Aten, or were they just both built the same way, but eventually something happens to, you know, it's that Star Wars storytelling that there's plenty given to us, but then you're asking, wanting more, wanting to know more, wanting to dive into that, go down that rabbit hole and learn more about what's transpired here. That, right, we have these sort of two factions on there. What flag do you fly? Sort of criterion that they seem to easily take to these new faces that they realize they weren't, like, they didn't realize they were off-worlders. It was a little weird how they sort of gave them a pass, but it's what's necessary for the story to happen, that they don't see new people. They wouldn't see new people on their planet very often, or off-worlders on their planet very often, to be asking which flag they fly. But it's whatever's necessary to so that we have these sort of two factions and two groups going on, to have the kids in a bit of peril. I took the we treat our kids as adult sort of thing, and we'll let you guys lead us into the next battle. Is that, well, kids are easier to, they should be the front lines. It's hard to say this, but in a real world, in a real world context, but in that sort of environment, well, if you have kids as your frontline soldier, you can create more front lines. You can replenish them quickly or easierly. You know what I mean? Than if your frontline soldiers is all the adults and they get taken out, and then the kids are, you're taken over a little easier. Yeah, there's a weird sort of dystopian element to this story and these two factions on this planet that can't be well fleshed out, because how are they surviving, or why are they fighting each other over EOPs, and what's truly going on there? But it was whatever it needed to be for our story and our characters to be in a bit of peril, and to be in a bit of a bind, and have a bit of conflict, and have to resolve it and solve it. I did like Neil and his nicety, sharing his food portion with the kids, and the leader girl seeing that and like, well, maybe we can change our ways. It had but the best part of all of this was them getting to, what was it, the inner sanctum, or the special sanctum, or the hidden sanctum, or whatever it was, where they find out and learn more about it had a very Fifth Element sort of vibe, to where, oh, I found water, I found air, I found fire. Wait, no, mine doesn't have the coordinates. I found that, but it doesn't have the coordinates. And the droid, says he can't remember no AT-AT. And there was a scene somewhere earlier in this episode where he's with Jod, and he says about, somehow Jod's asking him about AT-AT, and then he says, I can't say I remember no AT-AT. And I remember thinking at that point in time that he says he can't say he remembers anything about no AT-AT, but didn't think too much of it, because I'm like, yeah, he's just not. But the way he says it, and because of the title of the episode, I kind of remember in the middle of the episode having wait, maybe the droid is just saying he can't say he remembers anything. And we clearly then get that later in the episode to where he's set up, right? Isn't that this one? Where he's set up to, he was programmed like she programmed her housekeeper droid to say, tell mom I was up in my room studying. It's like, but you weren't. It's like, no, you just don't remember. Memory override. Tell mom I was up in my room studying. That's what the captain did to him, to where he says, you can't say anything about, if anybody asks you, you can't say anything about remembering AT-AT, or you can't, you don't know anything. Why she overrides him, and then he's like, oh yeah, I remember it. But I also remember the captain saying, if anybody comes poking around, I should tear him limb from limb. Seemed a little, wait, either you remember that or you don't, or you remember that piece. Like, she overrided it enough to get to where, yeah, you remember it all. But as the current captain now, she couldn't override the previous captain's thing to say, if anybody comes poking around to ask for it, tear him limb from limb. She just could have said, I'm your captain now. Stop that. Override that. But again, what we
doesn't Jod do something to him? Because he's like, let me see if I could jog your memory. Then it kind of cuts away. Like, so does he mess with? That's kind of why he goes kind of berserk. I don't know.
No, I think those are two scenes. He catches him for stealing the credits or whatever.
And he's like, this is Akron. He's like, yeah, this is a dangerous place. He's like, well, what about AT-AT? And he's like, I can't remember. No, I can't say whatever.
Can't say I remember.
Like, well, let me see if I can. He's like, let me see if I can jog your memory. And then it just cuts away and it doesn't show him again until later. I'm like, so what happened? Yeah.
No, but a good way, that Smee says, somebody's like, somebody took the coordinates, and Smee's like, yeah, I did. And then they all have this realization, like, wait, you've been here before? He's like, yeah, I was here. Wait, just a neat way to sort of get to this point of moving the story right along. It is 8 episodes, and we are fast and furious from where they were at home. where they were and where they are now. They're 3 planets. They're all over the galaxy and learning, seeing different people. Yeah, this movie's moving. This story is moving quickly in a good way. It's not backfilling a lot of stuff. It doesn't have that filler episode aspect to it, which isn't ever a bad thing. I never mind a filler episode in any of the 22 episode types of seasons or things that we get. But it's moving along in a really good clip to where they're trying to, getting closer and closer to making their way home.
Okie dokie. Marie.
I liked this episode, not as much as the others, but my favorite part of it was Fern commanding SM-33 to babysit Jod, and he's going, "Come on, baby."
Babysitting mode. Come on, baby. Okay, baby.
Come on,
yes.
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the best part of this episode, I thought. And also SM-33's heel turn was very interesting because they can't say, "I remember Noah Atten." All of a sudden it clicks. It's like he literally can't say it. It's not just like an expression like, "Hey, I can't say I recall that." It's like, I literally cannot say that I recall Noah Atten. But I was told that if somebody asked about it, to tear him limb from limb was like, whoa, hold on a second here. So yeah, that and then the whole mirrored aspect of this of Atten, where we have this crazy moment where we go through the mirror and see this war-torn like suburb, used to be a suburb, and the kids pointing out like there's the school which is now a training center for child soldiers and that sort of thing. So yeah, there were lots of little bits of this episode that were great. It's, like I said, it's not my absolute favorite, but it had its moments. And Neil being the hero of this one, I really kind of like that, because kids like that get shoved to the background a lot. Like the really nice kids, they get shoved to the background a lot. And this shows that, it pays off to be kind and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, all in all, I really like this episode. Again, although it's not my top favorite of all time, but we got another 3 episodes to go. So
I agree. I do like the Neil throwing the rock as Smee's coming after him, whatever, and being the hero of the episode was a fun little thing for that character to get showcased.
Yeah, because characters like that, they always get kind of shoved to the background, or it's always like the comic relief, and it's just like, it was nice to let him have his moment of being the actual hero.
I was going to say, it's also the episode where I noticed that Neil had hair, so that's quite a shock for the series.
Ricky said about didn't Jod do something to Smee, and I was like, Smee, and I was like, oh yeah, he turned him off. Like he did this great flying leap, click the power switch on the back of him as he's about to attack Neil to sort of shut him down, which was a neat way to.
It's a really bad place to have an on-off switch, isn't it? On your back, you can't turn yourself on and off, but everybody else can. So
Well,
it's really bad.
you had Fern on. I mean, you had like the good character thing with Neil, but then you had Fern kind of break down and start crying to Wim and being like,
Oh yeah.
"This is my fault. Like I don't know what I'm doing," and blah blah blah. She's been so like closed off and hardened the whole time, and she's like, "I'm just a kid. I don't know what I'm doing."
Let's be very clear. This is totally Wim's fault. All this. So
No, it's not.
not to be too harsh on the poor lad, but it's totally his fault. Okay, but we're moving on.
Well,
so
he
we can
pushed
get
the
to
button, so yeah.
Yeah, it's completely his fault. He
Hey, she
dragged
tried to
them all
snake his
there.
treasure, so they should have never have even been there. It's all her fault.
Right, okay, so this takes us up to date to episode 5, which came out on Christmas Eve. Not that we had anything else to do that day. Or
geez.
Christmas Day in my case. I think it was, yeah, Christmas Day, yeah. So this was called "You Have a Lot to Learn About Pirates." So on Atatum, the parents desperately try to send a message beyond the barrier, but this attempt is foiled. Farah admits to Rendell that they have to go behind the supervisor's back. The crew managed to restrain SM-33 and alter his programming to prevent him from turning on them. He reveals that the hidden treasure belonged to the famed pirate Tak Renaud, meaning that the ship they're on is the Onk Cinder. Onyx Cinder.
Which is a great ship,
Yeah.
great pirate ship name, I thought, right?
Yeah, Cinder, yeah. Okay, so SM-33 agrees to take them to his hidden base, which has since been turned into a luxury planet called Nanupa. Jod disguises the children as elders as they arrive on the planet. However, his former partner, Pocket, a freelancer, outs his location to Brutus, the Wolfman. With help from the patron, what was he called? I can't say it. Phillips? What was that big thing?
Catholops. Kind of like Cthulhu. Kind of like Cthulhu. It's Catholops.
Catholops, that's it. With the help of Catholops, the crew make their way deep into Nanupa's hidden caves, maneuvering through booby traps until they find Renaud's hidden base. They find the coordinates to Atatum and learn that the treasure is a mint that creates infinite credits. When Fern reminds Jod of their fair reward he was promised, Jod, desiring the mint, challenges Fern to the captaincy, and with a cutlass to her throat, urges her to yield. After she does so, the children escape, and Jod picks up the lightsaber that was among the relics in the trove.
Oh, man.
What an episode. What an episode. Ryan.
Yeah, so overall, it was funny. I mean, at a base, it was just funny to see the kids goofing around, to kind of have like this. The costumes were good, to kind of see Smee being like, oh, they melted their bones. And it's like, oh, that's a hot tub now. Like, it was just a comical episode, but with still a lot happening. So I'm sure others will touch on other stuff. So I'll just kind of ask the question. The character, the one that's all Pocket, the one that's all white. Do you like, I guess, Ricky and Ron, you think that's kind of the same species as the one from the High Republic? Remember well, I guess Ron didn't read it. I guess more Ricky and Steven, I mean. But, there's one of the Jedi Masters. They die on Starlight Beacon. The one that helped. Yeah. You think that's kind of what the species looks like then? Was she that species?
I don't remember.
I've heard that mentioned somewhere online, yeah, but I didn't think about it at the time.
Because, I mean, Orla's all white hair, all white skin. So it's good to see that species kind of. I would assume it's the same. So I just kind of like seeing that because I'm like, High Republic.
Like Orla Jareni?
Yeah. That's it.
That actress that played Pocket.
I got that out of my. I just remembered her name out of my own brain. That was a memory triumph. I know, it's amazing.
The actress that played Pocket, she's actually Merida from Brave. So she's the voice. So it's kind of cool. They're using Disney people. So.
Not seen it.
Yeah, Carrie McDonald.
Not seen that.
Yeah. You've never seen Brave? It's a good cartoon.
I haven't seen it either.
You've never seen Brave?
That costume was awesome though. For their eyes were like little pupils, and it was cool.
Just quite got a very welcoming face. I was taken in by her. I was captivated. Anyhow, that's just my.
And I like that Jod was just immediately like, she's gonna rat us out. Yeah. We have to get going, and the kids are jumping on the bed and stuff. But I won't go through all the cool stuff. I'll let some of you guys come up with some other stuff. But it was solid. Again, this is another. It's speed. You definitely see it stepping up more and more. Like, oh man, and it being a mint, he would have got a good reward anyway. I mean, those High Republic credits are worth a lot, so he could have been like, hey, these are just normal to you. They might be like 1 million credits to you, but they're worth 50 million in the real world. So I'll just take that and go. But what's he going to do? Try to take over a planet? Like, come on, man. It seems weird.
It's a bit far
biting off more than he could chew, it seems like. Oh, well. But yeah, that's kind of it for me to start, and we'll see what others get with.
Yeah, we're going. Yep. So, Ricky, what's a concubine?
That was funny. Like, don't elaborate on that. And then he asked it again. I like this episode. I liked all the piratey kind of like the booby traps and all that stuff, and then the creature and the spa and all that stuff. That big giant dude that he just wanted to hear a story. Like it was a lot of cool parts of it where they're in danger, but then they weren't. And then, like, Jod just kills everybody in that room. Or I'm assuming.
Well, apparently not. So, as people pointed out online, that in the trainer, they appear again in the trainers, so they can't all be dead.
Even Urkel.
Yeah, did they kill Urkel? Like, that's what I'm really worried about, man. Like, they're like, oh no, acid.
Yeah, I can't work out. Yeah, so the saying, the word online is that they can't all be dead because they appear later in the trainer in a different scene. But then how the heck did they manage to escape the acid is beyond me. So literally down
they probably lost like one or two guys.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good episode, and I liked all the lightsaber showed up. And
Yes.
did you guys realize he had it upside down?
No, not until I did when he.
Oh, really?
It
did
seemed
not
like it. I
notice
was
that.
like, why is that hole so small?
middle
Because
was-
that's
yeah.
a problem that I had with the Kenobi series when he's doing the flashback with Anakin, and his lightsaber has this tiny pinhole, and I'm like, that looks stupid. And I just thought it was doing it again, and it was upside down, but it makes perfect sense. And he's just like, and he like jumps out of the way, and it stays lit for a few seconds. I noticed, and then turns off.
I was excited because that lightsaber actually looks like the one I made at Galaxy's Edge because it has the gold kind of color to it. Like I thought it was cool. Like, hey, it's my lightsaber. That's why I kind of knew he had upside down because the hilt was backwards. The emitter was on the other side.
Yeah.
And that giant skull thing, I don't know what that's for, but and for some reason the pirate captain. Okay, the pirate captain when they watched the message, it was like they couldn't
His
make out
face was blanked out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
so
assuming
that's
that person is the supervisor on Ed Eden. That's
Well,
my
that's what people think online, but clearly we can dictate that the person's face is somebody we know, because otherwise there's no
Or
other reason
about to know.
to obscure it. Oh yes,
or it's Wim's dad.
it's Hondo. It's Hondo.
Hmm.
No, it couldn't be
it's not
Hondo.
Hondo.
Could
Different
it?
hat.
Can't be Hondo. No, it can't be Hondo.
Yeah, I just hope there's a payoff. You know, like they gotta do something. That's why I originally thought the ship was, 1,000 years old or whatever, but it could just be like, I don't know, 100 years or something like
Yeah,
that,
just
or whatever long-lived species. And they keep talking about, I want an audience with the supervisor right away. Let's do this right now,
Yeah.
type of thing. And it never shows them. So it seems like next episode, the parents
probably
might
get
talk
that.
to the supervisor, and Shmi might recognize him like, oh, you're my captain. So
Could happen.
I hope it
Something's
unfolds.
going to happen. Something about the supervisor we'll find out
yeah.
next time or time after. It's either somebody we know or someone we never suspected. So there's certainly something going on there.
Lando.
It's Lando, yeah. Or Lobot. Rom.
You were asking about concubines, but that's a story for another
No,
time.
no, we get
I
spoken
think
of
he
on
says, or something like that. Or he says, no, he says that's enough story time for now because
We need
they
that for the after show.
Yeah, no, they even or that happened. I'm like, geez, how are they gonna? And the kids even ask what it, it's actually.
Yeah.
Simple. But he's like, no, that's enough story time for now. But they wanted to get more. This was just a great episode. Again, moving incredibly fast. A lot going on in this one because we find out he's got like two more. The pocket calls him something, and then there's guards that call him something else. That he's got a bunch of aliases as a pirate captain. Think you might have running around the galaxy doing things. A really nice moment where he tries to catch up with Wim, and give him some sage advice and tells him to forget his parents and the attachments and that you enjoy the adventure, you're on an adventure, just keep living a lot of life affirming type of dialogue in this
But
one.
he's telling him like Jedi
reality stuff,
Jedi like traits things.
Yeah, that's what.
But he's saying it wrong. Like he's turning it. Like no
He's
attachments.
using it, not that he's using it, but right, he learned it at some point, and it's how he's lived his life the way he is, or is passing along to the kid. He's clearly not a father figure, but he's a father figure to them. He doesn't have kids, but has him trying to enjoy the adventure or stay on the adventure, but then later with the lightsaber in his hand, he's like, this isn't one of your adventures, that it's getting serious. It went from the fun sort of story to very, very serious at the end. Now that he knows the coordinates and has them, he challenges for the pirate captainship or whatever and just has her yield. He's holding her at knife point, and there's a lightsaber in play that could be very, very dangerous if used the right way. It just the story moves from the beginning of the episode, it's in one area, and by the time we get to the end of the episode, it's in a completely different area. I had to rewatch it. I couldn't quite figure out how did they, because they had to throw a coin in. That was a weird thing, the greatest sacrifice, throw a credit in, and it somehow shut it off. The chemical reaction, whatever happens there.
I would have thought more than one coin would be needed, but yeah.
How did he turn the acid back on? But in a rewatch, once they're what is it? He has Smee's connected to the data port that they're watching the pirates hologram or message or whatever. He asks Smee, do you still have access to this system or something like that? And he says, fill it back up with acid. And that's how he filled it. Whether he kills them all, clearly, not everybody was down in that pit at the time or people escaped. The ones in the lower part of the pit as it's filling up get acidified or whatever, killed by the acid, and then the other ones escaped. It doesn't seem that hard to believe, but them coming onto this planet, them jumping around on the beds, just so much. This episode is chocked full of story beats and action.
He says my favorite Qui-Gon line. He says, "Your focus determines your reality."
It starts in one place, ends in another, but drops a lot of information and a lot of good stuff that this one definitely deserves a rewatch on a couple of occasions. They come in on their ship and get guided. It was very Cloud City like, where they got the twin pod cloud cars, escorting them in, and oh no, we're here to see whatever. Okay, let's have you land on this platform. And then the pirates come in and are like, wait, we got to, and they just destroy them. Just blow them out of the sky.
Yeah, no violence will be accepted. They're just like
boom, boom. Yeah, take those two out. It's just a fun. Again, this one deserves a rewatch and is a fun episode to watch because there's a lot going on. Them running the mud pits and escaping, and the big giant creature that she befriends that was kind of like a it was new, right? We've never seen that thing that said you don't smell like an attendant. Ms. Wims on there looking for something. She ends up telling him the story. That thing was new. We've never seen anything like that before, right? So I just enjoyed the heck out of this episode because of how much was chalked into it. It was, and we get a lightsaber, and a funny approach to someone wielding a lightsaber. Thank God he doesn't take out his foot or whatever, but to have it upside down was, sure, it makes sense. It's a kid, he shouldn't know, and all of that goes into it. Why not have it upside down as he ignites it? But yeah, it was a fun visual because he's standing there with it, and you're like, oh, well, he's gonna rescue her or do something or whatever, and he ignites it and it goes bouncing across the floor because he had it upside down. I enjoyed the heck out of that for way more than I probably should have for some reason. I don't know. That was cleverly done, and excited to see, because he's clearly now after Nawood's clearly after the treasure. He now knows where it is. He doesn't need the kids anymore, so he challenges for pirate ship. He's going to take over the ship. That they escape, so to speak, by going down the trap door. Where does that lead to? Does he need them anymore? Is he going to rescue the kids, or are they now in the last two episodes sort of separated from themselves? That the kids befriend the pirates, how
you got to mention that trap door can't lead to anything good, So I just kind of wonder how they're just going to survive that in general.
Right, without Smee just on it's on them. It's on their own. They don't have the lightsaber because he dropped it, and Jod picks it up. So if he is as Wim says, he's a Jedi. He's a defender, keeper of the peace, and the defender of people. Is he going to be one of those torn character moments where he's torn between wanting to get that or rescuing the kids that he put in danger and harm's way or something? So excited to see how this plays out. Does this end? We have 3 more episodes. Does this go right? This goes 6, 7, 8. We don't get a double episode at the end of it all. We can talk about that.
Not a drop, no.
But yeah, we got restraining bolts on Smee, where every time he's like, I'll throttle the what was it? The lady was like, oh, this was a legend. She says the guide or whoever, I don't know who it was. Somebody's like, legend has it the pirates built this to and he's like, I'll throttle you. It was no legend, and the restraining bolt holds him back. I thought that was funny. Yeah. I love that. I enjoyed that way too much. I love this episode. This is a really, really good episode. Lots to take in visually as well.
Yeah, easily the best of the season so far for me.
Yep.
Marie.
Best of the season, one of my favorites. Way too much detail to take in, but again, with the 80s kid vibes, definitely Goonies, and strong Indiana Jones vibes from this one. With the whole that skull thing and the booby traps and all of that kind of thing. It reminded me of not only the Indiana Jones movies, but the Indiana Jones ride at Disneyland. and kind of made me want to go on it again because I haven't been to Disneyland in a while.
Yeah, there's a question about why there's so much security, and she's like, "Oh, the banking, right? Somebody's here, and we're looking out for imposters." And she just goes on a spiel about why there's so much security, and then he's dropping credits to be like, "Yeah, I don't really have a reservation," and she just takes them. She
And then
just
they say Scipio.
Scipio, the planet
Scipio
that
was
the
dropped.
banking clan is from.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah, the
I
banking clan
definitely-
is from there. And it's those weird looking, it's the Munes, the
Mune
ones with the
guys.
really long faces. So that's why the guy was like, "You're really President Gorlak or Professor Gorlax from Scipio."
From
yeah,
Scipio.
you look like one of
That's
those.
where that he knew that he was busted at that. I couldn't figure out why he knew,
Yeah.
because he was about to say something and it was just like, "Run!" And I couldn't figure out how he realized he was busted. So he realized he was busted because the guards called him out as being from Scipio, and he's going to know that Scipio, he doesn't look like somebody from Scipio. All right.
Well, the
Yeah,
guy
no,
that
he's
was
not a
that like
human.
Padme was from Scipio too. What was his name? The one that Anakin
her-
punches in the face.
her crush.
Yeah, what was his name? Oh, well.
Oh gosh.
He was from Scipio, or
Yeah, he was like the
So-
human. I don't know, for some reason he had to deal with him, but he lived
Yeah.
there.
So then
Was
Jod
that
could have
the
been
one
from
who-
there if that's the case.
That's the one who didn't he backstab her or I don't
Yeah,
know.
I forgot.
There
his
was
name.
quite a lot of
Anyway,
episodes named after him. He was in a lot of episodes, wasn't he? That long arc.
yeah, like
Can't remember his name now. Yeah.
The pocket creature wasn't a creature. Just the character design was cool. Clearly has the contacts in, but the eyes and just the way she was impish and flirtatious and.
I was like, I want that action figure.
Yeah. She did very well to sell that as a cool character, cool bounty hunter type. The interaction between him and she called him something else. That's where we got another name that he had.
Yeah.
Because she.
Rendar something or Dash.
No,
No, not Dash.
It wasn't it? It was
Was
something
it Dash
Rendar.
Rendar?
but anyway.
It wasn't
No,
Dash
what-
Rendar.
Somebody
but it was
Dash.
like,
Somebody
It-
Dash. Dash
he got
wasn't it?
another name, and like I say, I remember remarking the guards that were chasing after him called him yet another name. So I think he's up to like 5 or 6 now. I do believe Jod Nanawood might be that he gave them his real name, because I don't think anybody else has sort of called him that or said that type of thing. I think Steven said it somewhere in there that he picked up. Like he was giving off credits and was like, "Yeah, we'll take the suite and I'll get the buffet," and that's what it was. And then once the bounty hunter comes and recognizes him, then he's like, "Yeah, I need no luggage and we want to check in fast or whatever." He recognizes they're on a time crunch, that she's going to be calling in calling it in, that they need to do what they need to quickly, and the kids don't get it. Like you said, they're jumping on the bed. You sure you go into that new
well,
hotel
the
room,
wise elders
Side-
and they're like dancing around in the lobby. I thought that was funny.
They're still
That's when
trying to
Pocket opened her mouth. I knew it was Carrie McDonald. I was like, "That's Carrie McDonald. It's got to be." And I looked it up, and sure enough, it was her.
Yeah, that's cool that they used her.
We did get the tagline, or the not the tagline, but the trailer line. A crew of murderous pirates are coming after you. That was fun to see where that where that comes from, where the origin of that in the trailer.
Yeah.
They were enjoying the hotel room, looking out the windows, jumping on the beds, pillow fighting or whatever. Being kids basically. And he's like, "A crew of murderous pirates are coming here. We got to go. We got to get out. We got to
Dash
make this
Zenton.
happen."
That's what he said his name. That's what she called him. Dash Zenton.
Yeah, clearly with a number of aliases out the way. They're dividing up. They're trying to search for the place or whatever, and then the kids are like, "I want to go with them. I want to go with them." And he's just so mad. It's just so like
He's like, "We're all going to die." Let's
yeah.
just-
He's finally in, and that's the namesake of. That's what I'm trying to get to. The namesake of the episode is like you have a lot to learn about pirates. It's like, look, they're coming here to get us. We have to go. We're in a hurry. Even so much so that when he's holding the knife at her throat, the type of thing, it was like, you've got a lot to learn about pirates. We're just after this thing. We got to go. We make this happen. And they're truly kids, that why would they? They shouldn't know any better. They're not, as they said earlier to Smee or whatever. Why'd you take us to a port full of pirates? Because we're pirates. Wait,
Yeah.
we're pirates?
We're all pirates now.
They recognize their role.
Still trying to think of that character's name. We'll probably get it after we finish here, probably.
Oh,
I can't-
Clone Wars.
Yeah, still trying to think of his name.
The area that they
Demon.
were in with the trick door and the food that was good and the data port, wasn't that chock full of treasure?
Yes.
Wasn't there a lot of good stuff? No, I think he does say, though, somebody wanted to take something, and he does say, wait, don't touch that. And they he's like, yeah, they booby trap their own things or whatever. But still, it seems like he would be excited to take some of that treasure, stuff their pockets full of some of that treasure, and that never
Well,
happened.
give him a chance.
Yeah,
That
anything.
might happen next episode.
I think they were like, everything was booby trapped,
Concerned that he was worried that it was booby trap. Don't touch anything.
and it was Rush
The-
Clovis.
Yeah, the not seeing the pirate in the broken up hologram, hearing his voice or whatever is clearly, we're gonna see that's somebody to some extent. I can't really fathom who, because it has to be old. That Onyx Cinder is stories of legends and all that sort of stuff, so it has to be somebody from a while ago. So maybe it could be new. I don't know if it's going to be somebody we've seen before or not. But yeah, finding out that Atten was a Republic mint, speaks to the lore, the legend of a planet with unlimited, whatever they say in the early episodes, of a planet with unlimited treasure or something like that. Because if it's a mint, then you have access to as much money. You can just print all the money you need, all the Republic credits you need.
I wonder if each
why
of those
stay
planets,
there?
did something like that, or were they all mints? I wonder.
Well, I envisioned that was the mint. The other ones were decoys just to protect Atten. It was hidden. The other ones weren't, because it was the mint. But why stay there if you're the pirate that finds it and you have all the money, you have access to all the. I guess, but he kills his crew. He kills everybody that knows about it. So he knows that if it does get out, everybody's going to want to come there after him. So maybe he just wants a peaceful life.
Yeah, it's the Paradise Plan. There's nothing going on. Nobody can find you. You can just live out your life and not have to work or do it. He's in charge. He's got all the money he wants.
Yeah,
Well, why
Dream Planet.
he didn't find it or found? He wasn't a founding member of it, being a mint. He
No.
went there searching for it. It was already established as a mint. So how would he become the leader of it?
He
Why
killed
would
somebody and took their place.
I think they beholden to the same pirate rules. I challenge for leadership type of thing.
They really don't have very much security there. Once they get, infiltrated, they probably can get taken out. But, he was like, I'm not going to mess this up because this is a good thing I found, So he's just going to chill in somewhere.
And did like Neil. No, shoot. What's the girl's name?
Fern?
Fern. Yeah. He's just like, no, I'm sorry, but I need you to say it. Like she's clearly yielding. She's clearly not going to, take him out and all that sort of stuff. Where he's like, no, I need you to say it. And, I need the droid to hear it, basically, that you yield, so that this will all happen the way I need it to happen.
Okay. Well, we could go on speculate for the next half hour, but we're over time, and we've all got our places to go back to in the real world, I suppose. Terrible. So we will wrap this one up, and 3 more episodes to go, and we will be back, whenever that is, late January, to discuss the next 3 episodes and everything that's happened, and potentially, hopefully, look forward to a second season, maybe. So I hope
I
so.
don't know.
Well, it's possible. It's all possible. Okay, so well, it's going to be a New Year. It's going to be, I was going to say, Happy New Year to you all, but it might be the New Year by the time here. So it's goodbye from myself, and it's goodbye from Ryan.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye from Ricky.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye from Ron.
Cheers. Stay safe, everyone.
And it's goodbye from Marie.
Goodbye, everybody.
Yay! So, goodbye, everybody, and may the force be with you.
Did it.
Can't wait for the next one. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Bring it
No,
on.
looking forward to this. Not wrapping up, but looking forward to more of the story being told, because it's getting good.
Go switch off. I am the Senate.
be sure to follow us online. We're at Facebook at PSW Senate. Join our Plus 20 Star Wars Facebook group, where we all are in there interacting. You can find us on Twitter at PSW Senate. On Instagram, we're at PSW Senate Podcast. And on TikTok, we're at PSW Senate Podcast. We look forward to hearing from you.
The Force will be with you, always.
I can invite people. I can't re-ring. Raise hand, caption, start shot, stop recorded, add people. Oh, that's annoying. I can't ring people a second time.
You can just tag them in the call. Oh, excuse me, in the group.
Hello.
Yeah. Oh, Ricky.
That was weird. I got in here and then it was like blank. What it was
What's
doing.
blank?
My whole screen was blank, but it was like showing that I was in the call, but it was just gray. And like nothing was working. So I had to get out and go back in.
Weird.
Oh, man. I fell asleep watching Squid Games last night.
There's so much stuff to watch right now. Like we watched Sonic this week. I took the kid to watch Sonic, and then me and the wife went and watched Mufasa yesterday. Like I got to watch Squid Games. I got to watch Marvel What If. You know, my weekly wrestling. Like, oh man, there's so much stuff to watch right now.
Oh man, I don't have to watch any of that.
We're rewatching Squid Games because it's been so long, and we're like, we'll just watch it before we watch the new season. So we started.
Not seen that. Not seen that either.
It's a good show. It's Master
It's not
Soul.
bothering. Actually, I saw the first 10 minutes. I was bored stiff, and I just couldn't be bothered to watch the rest of it.
What? Jeez.
Speaking of wrestling, I'll be able to start.
It's called a story, man. You got to stick with it.
It was boring as hell first time. I just couldn't get past it. No, but wrestling's come to Netflix next week, so I'll be watching it again over here.
Well, if it's anything like the football game that came on Christmas.
I didn't have any problems with the football game. I had a ton of problems with the boxing match, but none with the football game.
Well, there was like a 45-minute halftime show. It was ridiculous.
It was a good show. It was really long.
Yeah, I'm like, are they going to play? I'm like, are they giving Houston a chance to rest because they're sucking so bad? Like, the team took a nap. Beyonce's going to perform for like 2 hours, and they're going to come back.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, so it was a 2-hour Beyonce in the middle of the football game. I'm like, why?
Oh, Skenton Crew Senate is starting now. Everybody's here.
Hello.
Love it.
Hello.
Hello.
Very
Good
good.
morning, everyone.
I could get script because it's going to go out as an episode, isn't it?
Yes. I'm still editing the last one.
Yes, this one going to be out in the new year or before the?
We shall see.
I'm going to go for after.
It all depends on Ricky.
Stay tuned. Well, if we don't and curse Ryan, then
Yeah.
Ricky won't have to.
I have a lot of editing to do. That's right. Yeah.
But you don't
I think
upset me, Ron. You ever think of that?
Touche.
And we can curse
think
in the
it's
after
free.
show, right?
I think it's free shit, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, we gave 3 dishes last time.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, I've got to get
All
the summary up for Skeleton Crew. Wikipedia. Are we going to do it episode by episode? Or are we going to combine the first two together, sort of thing?
You can probably have time to do episode by episode if we start like now.
Episode by episode. Was that it? Is that
Yep.
what we're saying?
I'm up in the air. It doesn't matter to me.
He's up in the
It's all
air.
thinner. It's all thinner, isn't
Yeah,
it?
to give the
basically?
to sort of give the recap so we can remember what the hell
Yeah.
talk about to some extent. So that might be a way to go.
There's only 3 episodes left.
Mm.
So it wraps up on January the 14th.
Mm.
So we meeting up then too, or
Well, that's January 14th. So that's 15, 16, 17. Well, football permitting, we could meet up that weekend after and wrap it all up.
I don't have any of those. Oh. I'm going through my cards right now.
Hmm.
Trying to see what
I
I'm
don't
missing.
know about no unlimited.
You could if you try a little.
Yeah, can't
No,
say
I ain't got time.
can't say
I haven't got time for that. I haven't got
He
time
was
to
bored
rewatch
by Squid Game. What do you
episodes.
expect, Ryan?
I was a really bad Star Wars fan last night. I had a choice between rewatching some of the Skeleton Crew or some random program I came across, and I watched the random program.
Blasphemy.
What was the random program?
Mystery at Blind Frog Ranch. No.
What? What do
If you
watch?
watch the Curse of Oak Island or the Curse of Skinwalker Ranch programs, and this is basically another one of those.
Hmm.
Mystery at Blind Frog Ranch. Some people with owners of land with too much money and not much sense start going looking for gold and stuff, and they've so far done 4 seasons of looking for it.
Someone's watching TV.
That sounds like Disney Plus starting up.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I see you're going to be invested in this show, huh? If you're just going to sit back and watch Disney Plus.
Okay, take a
I still don't
picture.
know why it turned green. Did you get the update about 4 months ago where they slightly turned the icon and the logo background green?
I got a thing for Star Wars Outlaws. You can get like Nick's tail wrap to be the new Disney Plus color.
No, I haven't seen that at all. Is it just for Christmas or?
No, it's like that teal color now instead of the blue it was before.
It is?
When-
I hadn't
when
even
Disney-
noticed.
Yeah, when Disney Plus turns on. It used
Oh,
to be
okay.
dark blue, now it's like teal.
Well, I'll have to look at it again.
So does everybody see my new Skype profile photo?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
You look like you're watching The Curse of Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah, I do.
No,
I look like I'm
It's
I look
the
like
old
I'm
one to me.
bloated. I look bloated in it because it's going right around my face. It makes my face look like the size of the profile. I might change it again. I thought it was time to update it because I haven't changed that for about 5 or 6 years in here.
I might have to change mine because mine's really old.
Yours just says MG.
Oh, does it?
I might do
Okay.
what Ryan's done and just go for someone that's not a photo of me and have that. Well, that is a photo of Ryan, but with the helmet on, I suppose. But
Me and Ryan
Is
are the
it?
only ones that have Star Wars related pictures.
Right.
yeah, I could find a Star
I
Wars
never have
photo.
to change. I never have to change mine.
I might change mine to what my Discord profile photo is, which is Leox, High Republic. I've got his
Yeah.
his photo is my
The
Discord.
drug addict guy?
Yeah.
Hey, he's an
Spice Violet?
upstanding. He's an upstanding member.
Yeah.
He has a
Yeah.
medical card for it.
Yeah. That's right.
Ryan, you know about Funko Pops? My wife won at work because they're having a little contest. It's the Wicked Funko Pops, but it's a set of 2. I guess it's both of the characters.
Oh, really?
work?
That's cool.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to know if they were cool enough.
Well, I mean, Wicked is very popular right now.
Yeah, they make
Not
those
the
for
only-
absolutely everything.
Not seen
I
it.
mean everything. I've been in a couple of stores where it's just like, oh my god, they cornered the market on whatever the licensing piece is to, and must be able to create
Yeah.
those things incredibly cheaply. You know, because
They,
they've got some
episode
they've got
one
some
done in
obscure
China.
licensing things or whatever. It's just like, wow, okay.
Are they? Is it the Target exclusive ones?
I have no idea. I gotta look at the box.
Have they
Yeah,
done
if it's-
precedent? Have they done precedents?
Well, I'd be next if they haven't. I'm sure they. You know, that's a
I feel
great
like-
question.
I feel
If
like
I've
I've
ever
seen
it.
Washington. I've seen Washington and stuff like that around. I thought.
But yeah, why not?
You could
create
probably
those?
get your own one commissioned, couldn't you? Probably.
Yeah, you can. Somebody at work got
You can.
got
Yeah.
YouTube
got
does
popped or got Funko,
Oh, excellent.
whatever they're calling it.
We
Yeah,
could all
my
do that
nephew
then. We
has
could all
one.
get Funko Pops to ourselves and then put them as a Skype profile.
Mine would be the very first one I ever bought, which was FN 2199 with the the rally baton or the whatever
The
baton.
big swing battle axe.
No, it's not the battle. You know, it's the riot baton. That's what it is. You know, where he
Right,
hits the
yeah.
spin and he goes flying. That's the first Funko I ever bought, and Thanos was the second, and now I have 400. So
The story of that thing. When I found one of those at a Disney store back when they had Disney stores, brick and mortars, and of course it was on clearance. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, but it's big and it's awkward, and it wasn't a lightsaber, and didn't really need it or whatever. But I picked the thing up. I should weigh it. I should get the thing out and weigh it. It was obscenely heavy for a kid's toy that's going to be swung around like a lightsaber, you know, battling the other kid or whatever. It was insanely heavy. And I was just incredulous to the whole thing that made me buy it, because I'm like, what kid's toy? Who is thinking this is a kid's toy to give because of its weight? You just know it's taken out a lamp, taken out its brother.
Well, they probably knew kids' toy being bought by a grown adult.
Yeah. No, I don't think they were thinking accuracy and all that.
Oh,
other
come on,
stuff, and they were
come
not.
on, Ron. We can both remember when toys used to be made of metal.
That's true.
Mm.
You say I can get metal
Get
knives
anything
and
that wasn't
Cracker Jack
metal
boxes.
back in the day.
But
I
we
had a little
learned
knife I
our
got from
lesson,
Cracker Jack.
and they're no longer heavy in weight. This was a modern. This was but a couple of years ago kind of thing. They should have known better, and they did not. I gotta find that thing. It was truly purchased because of its weight. It was just insane.
Well, kids can
How
carry
heavy it
baseball
was.
bats. So.
It's not a toy.
Is it? It's for
What is it? A
game.
lightsaber?
Baseball bats
Yeah,
a
a
toy.
weapon is a toy. Hmm.
Geez, I don't need
Nunchucks are
Riot
toy.
Battalion. Yeah, I don't
It's
even.
not a toy, Whim. Yeah.
All right, you ready?
So we're going to go straight into the episodes, are we? No round the table or anything, palaver like that, anything? Nope.
Anybody?
So
Unless
nobody got
anybody has
anything for
any,
Christmas, Star
Christmassy
Wars?
stuff. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Same thing.
Have we got time for Ron's Christmas presents? It won't be a full- When I
Yeah,
get through
right.
it.
No, I didn't. I have my thing in case we did. I did not get much in the way of.
If you see what time's
Sorry.
left at the end, if we get through Skeleton Crew in a record time, we can always do any other
That's true.
business. Any other business, any AOB. Okay. So this is episode 67.
Yeah.
Order 67.
No, you gotta listen to the commercial that I
That's a
found.
Diet Coke.
Hey, what did you put in it? Oh, I haven't heard it yet. It's not out, is it?
Yeah, it's not yet. It's
It's not yet. We'll have to listen to it. I hope you change my voice into Palpatine or something like that. Okay. Right. Okay. Let's get cracking on then.